Chapter 1669. Using the Celestial Sovereign title, Li Fan immediately felt the energy in his body depleting rapidly. The Celestial Sovereign title amplified Li Fan's combat power by 10 times, but it also made him consume 10 times his physical strength. But Li Fan took out a heavenly essence pill and placed it in his mouth. A steady stream of energy was released from his dantian and entered Li Fan's body. This heavenly essence pill was Luo Xiaofeng's latest creation, which could greatly replenish one's internal energy. Normally, he only needed to place it in his mouth and he would be able to continuously absorb energy from the pill, which could last for about 10 minutes. This heavenly essence pill was extremely expensive to manufacture, and one pill's medicinal value was no less than 1 million. But to Li Fan, eating such a pill in exchange for his powerful combat power was very worth it. Who asked Luo Xiaofeng to be in his hands? Who asked this to be a team battle? Everyone knew that in the process of a team battle, taking pills was a must. Through the earpiece, Li Fan knew that the following battle was also going well. Under the command of Night Rain Tower, the 7 hero sword guards maintained very good combat power and mobility, regained control of the battle rhythm, and slowly pushed back the 1,000-man legion. But the opponent had too many people. If it was a battle of attrition, it would definitely be disadvantageous to Li Family Island. So what if you're wearing a pile of scrap metal? Watch how this emperor breaks you. As the martial emperor spoke, he controlled his 5-clawed golden dragon and soared into the sky, pouncing towards Li Fan. Li Fan controlled the mecha and directly jumped up, turned around and swung his leg, kicking the golden dragon's head, sending this 5-clawed golden dragon flying. This 5-clawed golden dragon wailed and flew back to the martial emperor's side in a sorry state, causing the martial emperor to widen his eyes in shock. What was going on? Why could Li Fan still unleash such strength? All of you lie down for me. Li Fan jumped high, swept past the martial emperor, and smashed into the 1,000-man legion. Jiang Feng saw Li Fan drive the mecha over, and was a little surprised. What was the martial emperor doing to actually let Li Fan out? Without hesitation, he stopped his pursuit of Guan Wenbao and charged at Li Fan with his sword. Overturn the heavens and stir the seas. Li Fan, on the other hand, launched a profound dragon ice palm at Jiang Feng. Although Li Fan did not have the power of the cold element, his mecha's right hand was equipped with a powerful cold control system. A frost-attributed palm energy burst forth, charging straight in front of him. Almost 100 people were smashed into ice fragments by this palm, and Jiang Feng's body was also sent flying, smashing heavily on the ground in the distance. Jiang Feng still couldn't understand why Li Fan still had such powerful combat strength. What was that mecha of his used for? Roar! The martial emperor's 100-man team was like wolves and tigers. To be precise, they were indeed like wolves and tigers. They rushed towards Li Fan, as if they wanted to tear Li Fan to shreds. Whoosh! Li Fan directly pulled out a 3-meter-long sword from his back, held it in his hand, and then swept it horizontally. Tornado remnant clouds. A sword energy spread out, instantly shredding more than 10 beast men. Following that, Li Fan brandished this huge sword, as if a god had descended from the sky, chopping the beast men in front of him into minced meat. The dragon-subduing sword technique was performed to perfection. So many people, not a single one of them was a match for him. Wearing this mecha, Li Fan could display the strength of an exalted immortal. Who would he be afraid of in front of this motley crew? In 3 minutes, Li Fan had already killed more than half of the 100-man team, and the rest were nothing to be afraid of. The so-called 1,000-man coalition army was already retreating under Li Fan's terrifying strength. The martial emperor stood on the castle, watching this scene, his heart trembling. If not for the dignity of the martial emperor, he might have knelt here. Why, did he fail just like that? My ambition, my empire, you have already lost. At some point, Jade was standing beside the martial monarch. You're right. We've underestimated Li Fan. The battle strength that Li Fan displayed this time made Jade's heart palpitate. A set of steel toys allowed him to display the strength of an exalted immortal. What if one day he made another set of toys and displayed the strength of an exalted immortal? The plan of Sky Beyond Heaven could not be aborted. Since that was the case, there was only one way left. Could it be? My fate is at its end. For the first time, the martial emperor felt despair. He had almost completely mastered the true immortal technique, but he was still one move behind and lost to Li Fan. As for the 100-man team that Sky Beyond Heaven had nurtured for him, they were quickly wiped out. We still have another way. Although Jade didn't really like the martial emperor, he was the only hope of Sky Beyond Heaven. What other plan do you have? The martial emperor didn't really trust anyone anymore, and he felt his confidence crumbling. The ambitious emperor of a generation was in a sorry state at this moment. Although Li Fan is strong, he is still a human. Jade said, "You, on the other hand, can follow me back to Sky Beyond Heaven and receive Sky Beyond Heaven's training to become a true expert." Go to Sky Beyond Heaven. When the martial emperor heard this, he subconsciously froze. Didn't you tell me before that the passage to Sky Beyond Heaven can only be passed by true immortals like you? If anyone else thought about it, they would be crushed by the passage and turned into pure energy. Indeed, that passage can only be passed by us. Even if you cultivated the true immortal technique, you still wouldn't be able to enter Sky Beyond Heaven. I told you before, even if you cultivate the true immortal technique and ascend, you will only become nourishment for my Sky Beyond Heaven. This was a vicious plan of Sky Beyond Heaven, and the martial emperor knew about it. However, Sky Beyond Heaven was afraid that their only representative would ascend and commit suicide, so they informed him in advance. However, we have another passage that will allow you to enter Sky Beyond Heaven smoothly. There's another one. Where is it? Follow me first. Jade pointed below, where Li Fan was leading the 7 Knights Villa's people, killing in all directions. They will definitely lose, so there's no need for us to stay here. Alright. The martial emperor sorted out his emotions. Now that things have come to this, he can only enter Sky Beyond Heaven. Perhaps, this might be an opportunity. As long as he can enter Sky Beyond Heaven, he might be able to obtain the complete true immortal technique and cultivate to the power of a Sky Immortal. At that time, I will truly be undefeatable under the heavens. The martial emperor made up his mind and followed Jade out of Li Family Island. On the other side, Li Fan is killing thousands of people, causing the allied army to throw away their helmets and armor, and blood is flowing like a river. Li Fan is too scary. We are not his match at all. Heavens, the martial emperor also ran away. Jiang Feng also slipped away. Quickly run. The remaining people finally started to break down and want to escape, but they found out that they have already been surrounded by the Li Family Island's army. The martial emperor and Jiang Feng have abandoned them and escaped long ago. Their only choice is to put down their weapons and raise their hands to surrender. Li Fan is very magnanimous. He tied these people up and began to judge them on the spot. Chapter 1670. When they came, it was a mighty army of 1,000 people, but in the blink of an eye, there were less than 200 people left, and all of them were injured. Niu Shuyan was also lying among them, shivering and not daring to let out a fart. The remaining people that Li Fan knew were the people from the 6 sections. Wang Zhini from Qingqing sect, Miao Chen from Kunlun sect, and Yu Ruoying from Amei sect. Wudong and Shaolin didn't send anyone, and Kongtong's sect also didn't send anyone because they were busy changing their sect leader. 3 of the 6 sects came, which could be considered as giving face to Li Fan. Old friends, it's not the first time we've met. Li Fan looked at the 3 sect leaders who were tied up and laughed coldly. The few of you are not discouraged. For the true immortal art, you even chased me all the way to my Li Family Island. Villa Master Li, we were greedy. Seeing that we're all martial artists, please spare us. Wang Zhini's hands were tied behind him, and his hair was disheveled. He was in an extremely sorry state, and no longer looked like a sect leader. He opened his mouth and begged Li Fan for mercy. Li Fan. Even if you kill me, there will be countless Amei disciples who will avenge me. Yu Ruoying still braced herself and didn't give Li Fan a good look. Anyway, I don't have long to live. If you want to kill me, then kill me. But if you want to humiliate me, no way. Sect leader Yu is of noble character and unquestionable integrity. You are our role model. Miao Chen just praised, and then changed the topic. However, we are all sect leaders, and have the heavy responsibility of building the sect. How can we lose our lives in vain? After saying that, he looked at Li Fan and said, Villa Master Li, we were just bewitched by Jiang Feng and Martial Emperor. Actually, we have some respect for Villa Master Li, Ba. Miao Chen. You're really shameless. You don't have the demeanor of a grandmaster. Yu Ruoying shouted angrily, greedy for life and afraid of death, you lowly people. Fuck your mother. Wang Zheni couldn't help but yell, you're sick and dying. Are you trying to harm us? Yu Ruoying, if you want to die, die alone. Don't drag us down with you. Wang Zheni, you're a dog. Yu Ruoying retorted, you don't deserve to be the Qingqing sect leader. It's the entire sect's misfortune that Qingqing has a sect leader like you. Sect leader you should also speak less. We are all martial artists, why do you have to be like this? Miao Chen was still trying to persuade him. Bah! Stop pretending to be a good person. Neither of you is a good person. Enough. Listening to them quarrel, Li Fan felt a headache coming on. Who said I'm going to kill you? Stop blabbering. Li Fan berated, and the three of them were stunned. You won't kill us. Yu Ruoying originally wanted to continue cursing, but when she heard Li Fan's words, she didn't know how to react. This is your last chance. Li Fan said, if they dare to come again, they will be killed without mercy. Thank you, Villa Master Li. You are truly benevolent and righteous. That's right, that's right. We are too ashamed. In the future, we will definitely not come to your island to cause trouble. At least you know what's good for you. Although she is terminally ill, Yu Ruoying doesn't want to die now. If she was really not afraid of death, she wouldn't have desperately searched for this true immortal art. The true immortal art that you want is here. Li Fan took out the revised version of the true immortal art and threw it on the ground, because the one in my hand is not complete, I slightly revised the true immortal art. Take it back to practice, it should be helpful to you. Li Fan slightly modified the true immortal art, removed some of the cultivation mistakes, and then fused some of his own inner force to create a new true immortal art. Cultivating this true immortal art can raise one's strength to the stage of saint, which is the level of an immortal slave. Some of the experts in Li Fan's sect have already started cultivating. Are you really willing to give it to us? Yu Ruoying is somewhat shocked and in disbelief. Aren't you guys pestering me for this? Li Fan said, although it is not complete, it can still let you practice to the stage of saint. This internal energy can improve your physique. In this way, your terminal illness should be alleviated. Really? Yu Ruoying is still somewhat in disbelief and thinks that this is Li Fan's trap. However, Li Fan is really kind. He had also given this true immortal art to the Holy Maiden and asked her to bring it back to the Devil sect. In order to balance China's martial arts world, Li Fan slightly revised it. He originally wanted to give it to the 6 major sects, but this time, he can give it to Yu Ruoying and the others in advance. Believe it or not, the boat is here, you guys can go. With a wave of his hand, Li Fan untied the ropes on the 3 of them and then pointed at the boat that they came on. The rest of the people, Li Fan let them all go back to the boat. After all, they are all China's martial artists, so Li Fan does not want to be too ruthless. After the boat sailed to the sea, Yu Ruoying and the others are studying the true immortal art that Li Fan revised in the cabin. Is this thing really effective? Miao Chen frowns as she looks at this kung fu. Will Li Fan really be so kind as to let us have it? It's hard to say. Li Fan, this person is cunning and sinister, we have to guard against him. Wang Zheni ponders for a moment. In my opinion, it is better to let sect leader Yu practice it first and see the effect. Why should I practice it first? Yu Ruoying's eyes stare, very dissatisfied. Anyway, you are going to die soon, just try it as a last resort. Wang Zhenyi's words almost make Yu Ruoying explode in anger. Wang Zhenyi, you are really not a good thing. Yu Ruoying originally wanted to teach Wang Zhenyi a lesson, but her power has not recovered and her body is injured. The moment she gets angry, she immediately coughs and her body hurts badly. Look at you, if you don't practice you might really die. Wang Zhenyi mocks, what are you afraid of, what if it is true? Besides, aren't you not afraid of death, sect leader Yu? Sect leader Yu, this poor Taoist also feels that this is your chance. Miao Chen also advises, this poor Taoist will protect you, if anything happens to you, this poor Taoist will definitely do his best to help. You two lowly people. You are jackals of the same lair as that Li Fan. I don't want to practice his lousy kung fu. This kind of thing is definitely harmful. Sigh, that's true, how could Li Fan be so kind? Who is willing to share the good stuff? Let's also stop arguing, maybe this is Li Fan's plan to sow discord between us. Wang Zhenyi seems to be a little disheartened, let's not fall into his trap. It is you who are gauging the heart of a gentleman with the heart of a lowly person. A cold voice rings out, the three of them are greatly shocked, turning their heads in unison, looking at the person beside them. Lu Zhu is wearing a black suit, unknowingly standing beside the three of them, looking at them with a smile that is not a smile. And behind him stand 5 experts wearing different colored clothes, each of them emitting a threatening aura. Chapter 1671. Who are you? Wang Zhenyi subconsciously pulls out his long saber and looks at the man in front of him with vigilance along with the other 2 sect leaders. You are actually speaking up for that thief Li Fan, it seems you are also from 7 Knights Villa. Before Yu Ruoying can finish her words, a man suddenly steps forward and pierces her throat with his palm, pulling out her throat bone and throwing it to the side. Yu Ruoying breathed her last, and the other 2 sect leaders were scared silly. Villa Master Li said that he won't kill us. Wang Zhenyi and Miao Chen hurriedly begs. My Villa Master is kind-hearted and indeed wants to let you go. Lu Zhu coldly snorts, unfortunately, I don't have this kind of kindness to raise you unscrupulous things. I'll fight you. Miao Chen knows that he can't convince him. He suddenly kicks Lu Zhu with all his might. Wang Zhenyi also pulls out his long saber and jumps up from the side and slashes towards Lu Zhu. The 5 shadows move again. 2 corpses lie on the ground. Lu Zhu expressionlessly waves his hand. Kill everyone on the ship, don't leave a single one alive. Then sink the ship into the sea and destroy the evidence. The 5 of them are the most loyal warriors. Without hesitation, they immediately turn around and leave the cabin. Not long after, waves of screams can be heard from the ship. When Lu Zhu walks out of the cabin, there is not a single living person on the ship. Even the boatmen who came to sail the ship are all killed. Lu Zhu brings the 5 shadows and jumps onto a small boat at the side and detonates the bomb on the boat. Looking at the flame engulfing the huge ship and then slowly sinking into the sea, Lu Zhu finally smiles. I will help you clean up the mess. On this side, after Li Fan solved the crisis on Li Family Island, he left the island and directly went to White Tiger Pagoda. Martial Emperor has already taken 2 holy towers in a row, he can't let him take the last one. According to White Tiger's reminder, Sky Beyond Skies should have a method to open a special passage to Sky Beyond Skies after opening the 4 holy towers. Martial Emperor lost this time, but he will definitely not accept consecutive defeats. Li Fan could already guess that he might also be eyeing the path to the realm beyond Avalon. No matter how the realm beyond heaven used him, if he went to the realm beyond heaven, it would definitely not be a good thing for him. After Li Fan returned to the underwater White Tiger Pagoda, he went straight to Hua's cell. This originally delicate and pretty female immortal was now hanging on the wall with a dazed expression. He didn't know what Qiu had done, but the flowers seemed to have changed. When she saw Li Fan come in, she immediately rubbed her legs and let out a low moan. Qiu, Li Fan shouted. Qiu, was wearing the Empress leather clothes as she strolled over. "Ah, master, you're back." Qiu was holding a small leather whip in her hand. When she saw Li Fan, she immediately knelt down in front of him. Li Fan saw that Qiu had a fake male penis hanging from her waist. "Damn, what is Qiu playing at? What did you do to her?" Li Fan had a bad premonition. After master left, Qiu used a little trick. It seems like the effect is quite good. This cute little fairy has already become very obedient. However, Qiu feels that she still needs to be taught a little more, so that master can enjoy her. Damn, why would I enjoy her? Li Fan's forehead was full of cold sweat. I only want her to tell me the information. Sure. Master can have whatever you want. As she spoke, Qiu turned her head, stood up, and whipped the ground. Hurry up and tell master everything you know. Little slut is willing to say anything. This originally high and mighty flower actually called herself a slut, causing Li Fan to be shocked. How did Qiu torment her, to actually make her become a completely different person? Alright, first tell me, why is the realm beyond heaven unwilling to descend to the ground while humans are still alive? Since she has been trained to this extent, she should tell me the secret. Because humans are viruses, bacteria, the nemesis of the realm beyond heaven. Flower's words made Li Fan shocked. What's the situation? The realm beyond heaven is so powerful, yet they are still afraid of humans? No, this virus, is love. Immediately after, Flower's words made Li Fan finally understand. In the past, the gods of the realm beyond heaven were a group of powerful races. There were many of us, countless of us, but when we came to Earth, many of us fell in love with humans. Our children have powerful energy. They rebelled against us and killed many experts of the realm beyond heaven. So, some of us had no choice but to exterminate those people, then escape to the realm beyond heaven, isolated from the human world, to avoid contact with humans. Hearing this, Li Fan's heart suddenly sank. My goodness, so this is the reason. The realm beyond heaven has its own set of broken rules, and everyone is quite rigid. After coming to Earth and seeing the rich and colorful life of humans, they were moved. You are worried that if you come to Earth again, there will be people who will lose control and fall in love with Earthlings, and then the remaining army can destroy you? There is a prophecy. Flower's whole body seemed to be itching. She looked at Li Fan in pain, and her eyes were dripping with tears. The people of the realm beyond heaven will give birth to a powerful descendant with an Earthling. He can destroy the realm beyond heaven. I see. Li Fan understood, and he suddenly remembered that there was another flaw in the true immortal technique. In the process of fixing it, he found this flaw. But if he did not practice it to the level of an inferior immortal, it would not show. That is, if a man practiced this technique, he would lose his sexual function. And if a woman practiced this technique, there would probably be some other price to pay. In comparison, although the current martial emperor said that he wanted to conquer his woman, he probably did not have this ability anymore. With the pride of the martial emperor, he definitely could not stand it. But he could only continue to walk on, constantly become stronger, and one day find a way to fix his flaw. The realm beyond heaven, indeed, made a ruthless move. The people of the realm beyond heaven naturally let the martial emperor, who had lost his ability, enter with ease. No wonder they want to destroy the human race. What a ridiculous reason. In his heart, Li Fan cursed 10,000 times. This was really bullshit. To us, this is the terrifying destruction of our race, so, for the sake of our race, the human race must be exterminated. At this moment, Flower seemed to have returned to normal, and she opened her mouth and said to Li Fan. After all, humans are only the lowest race. Chapter 1672. What nonsense are you spouting? Qiu was furious. She whipped the flower. This damned little girl. Her words made him lose face in front of his master. Would master blame him for not teaching him properly or something? I'm spouting nonsense. The flower cried. When we first arrived, we had a population of 20 million. But now, we are left with less than 1 million. Most of them are ordinary celestials, and they have lost their ability to reproduce. Almost all of our elites have died. What a terrifying genocide. Even so, this is not a reason for you to destroy our race. Li Fan said coldly, you are a foreign race. Can you destroy others for the sake of your own race's survival? Just because you don't want your race to go extinct, can you do it to others? We are of different races, so our standpoints are different. The flower seemed to be more and more clear-headed. When she talked about this issue, she temporarily regained her sanity. Alright, you're right. Since that's the case, I'll go and destroy your race first. As Li Fan spoke, he walked forward and reached out to pinch the flower's chin. Tell me, how can I open the passage to the sanctum and head to the realm beyond heaven? You can just kill me. The flower used the last of her rationality to cry. You're so annoying. Chiao was about to go crazy. Her method had actually failed. She had wanted to show off in front of her master, but it had ended up like this. Master, let Chiao teach her a little more. She just needs a month. No need. Amorous, come out. Under Li Fan's command, the nine-tailed divine fox obediently flew out of Li Fan's body. She transformed into a red fox and landed on his shoulder. Her red tail wrapped around Li Fan's neck like a scarf. Then, her yellow-red eyes stared intently at the flower's eyes. Activate, the souls of the 4 sages. Then, use, our realm beyond heavens, pass, to enter and exit the tower, pass. Li Fan glanced at the nine-tailed divine fox. The nine-tailed divine fox immediately understood his intentions. She nodded and activated her spell. This is the pass. As the flower spoke, it opened its mouth and spat out a golden rune. The nine-tailed divine fox was ecstatic to see this, and he immediately sucked the symbol into his mouth. Darling, after using this rune, you can enter the sky beyond heaven. Alright, all that's left is the Vermilion Bird Tower. Li Fan waved his hand. Let's go, let's attack the Vermilion Bird Tower. He had already brought the dragon lady back, and they could set off immediately. If it's the Vermilion Bird Tower, you have to be careful. Ms. White Tiger flew out again and floated beside Li Fan. She looked at him and blushed slightly. Is there anything terrifying about the Vermilion Bird Pagoda? Mysterious. I can't say. It's just that the Vermilion Bird used to have some strange hobbies. What do you mean? That. Among the 4 sages, Big Brother Black Tortoise is mature and steady while Little Brother Azure Dragon is aloof and cold. As for me, I'm gentle like water, witty beyond compare. Why are you rolling your eyes? As for the Vermilion Bird, that girl was as passionate as fire, and she loved to pursue the beautiful love of the human world. Therefore, the mechanisms in her pagoda were more unique. When you get there, you'll naturally understand. Explain it clearly, don't be like the last time. After entering, I became an idiot and didn't understand the situation at all. Li Fan muttered in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that he was more witty than others and went to find the past Lin Yuhsin to help him solve the problem, he was afraid that he would really be dead. Don't worry, this time, Zhang Qing and I will follow you, White Tiger explained. White Tiger explained, last time, the Azure Dragon Pagoda was a little special, because it sent you back to the past. At that time, one of us was under the Cold Pond Pagoda, and the other was on the island, so we were definitely unable to help you. However, the Vermilion Bird Pagoda doesn't have this ability. Although it can eliminate your power, it can't eliminate me and the nine-tailed divine fox. Why? Don't you guys belong to my power? The 2 of us are independent entities to begin with. White Tiger continued to explain, we're just relying on your existence. Therefore, we will enter the Vermilion Bird Pagoda with you and cooperate with you. Li Fan roughly understood. Alright, I understand. It's best if I can help. I'll go inform Dragon Girl, we'll set off immediately. The martial emperor should have also started his operation, so he didn't have time to waste. Li Fan picked up Dragon Girl, who was eating snacks and watching anime. Ignoring her protests, he used the 9 heavens roaming dragon Qinggong and headed to the next Vermilion Bird Pagoda. The 4 holy pagodas were also set up according to 4 directions. The Vermilion Bird was a southern bird, so this Vermilion Bird Pagoda was located on the southernmost island of Huaxia. It was hidden in the mirage and would only open during the hottest season. Although it was already past the height of summer, the matter was urgent, so he could only forcefully open it. Li Fan arrived at the end of the world. The Vermilion Bird Pagoda was just 2 kilometers south of here. He jumped down from the shore, stepped on the sea, and continued to run. Fortunately, it was night time, so no one noticed this mysterious Huaxia man. Otherwise, Li Fan would probably be on the hot search on Weibo the next day. He followed Dragon Girl's guidance and came to the sea. Here, he only saw a stone pedestal floating on the surface of the sea. In the vast sea, if one didn't know the location, who would see a small stone pedestal here? Amorous, come out. It's time for you to shine again. Li Fan urged. The 9-tailed divine fox flew out again and entered Li Fan's body, becoming a part of his power. Blazing palm. Li Fan struck out with his palm, and the surrounding temperature rose by a lot. Li Fan's palm was like a small sun, releasing a terrifying heat from his palm, filling the sea. Soon, the air in front of him began to distort, and a towering red pagoda gradually appeared from the void, appearing in front of Li Fan. There were a few pieces of rubble in front of the pagoda. Li Fan frowned. Looks like the martial emperor arrived one step earlier. The Vermilion Bird Pagoda is not that easy to conquer. White Tiger comforted Li Fan, we can still make it if we go now. As long as we get there before the martial emperor, there will be no problem. Okay. He had even conquered the Azure Dragon Pagoda, let alone the Vermilion Bird Pagoda. Regardless of whether it was a god or a ghost, he had to take it down. Dragon Lady, wait here for me. If the martial emperor comes out first, don't say anything, just turn around and run. If I come out first, yes, I'll treat you to a feast. Don't worry, my escaping skills are the best in the world. Chapter 1673. Vermilion Bird Pagoda, the last of the 4 Saint Pagoda. Li Fan and the martial emperor were both fighting for the ownership of this pagoda. Even if Li Fan gave the Vermilion Bird to the martial emperor, he could still enter the sky beyond heaven through the runes. However, each of the 4 saints had powerful combat power, which could be seen from Miss White Tiger. Furthermore, with the 4 saints by his side, their rich knowledge and experience would be of great help to him. No matter what, he had to get his hands on the Vermilion Bird. Li Fan entered the Vermilion Bird Pagoda. This Vermilion Bird Pagoda was indeed extraordinary. After entering, he realized that the interior was decorated like an ancient wedding hall. Red wedding couplets were hung everywhere, and the atmosphere was fiery and joyous. In this hall, there was also a large group of clay figurines. These clay figurines imitated the guests, the bride and groom who were bowing to heaven and earth, and the parents of both sides. They were truly lifelike and lifelike. Looking at the scene here, it seemed to be the era of the Republic of China. However, this family should be a wealthy family, and they seemed to have some power, because there were a few soldiers with guns standing guard for them. Another challenger. A mechanical voice sounded above Li Fan's head, you have a month's time. As long as you can woo the bride who is about to get married, you can see me through the Vermilion Bird Pagoda. Good luck. After saying that, the scene in front of Li Fan suddenly changed. It was as if he had entered the sea. A chill wrapped around him, and he even had a feeling of suffocation. When this feeling dissipated, Li Fan had already arrived in a brand new world. The surroundings were bustling with noise, and the surrounding people were congratulating the bride and groom. It looked like a scene of joy. Miss White Tiger's voice sounded in Li Fan's ears. This should be the scene set up by the Vermilion Bird. According to her requirements, you will win if you can woo the bride within a month. Fuck, what kind of fucking mission is this? Li Fan was extremely speechless. Stealing someone else's woman, this was a bit fucking. Li Fan glanced at the bride and groom who were bustling with excitement. The groom looked quite decent with thick eyebrows and big eyes. As for the bride, she was wearing a red veil, so it was hard to tell what she looked like. But looking at her figure wrapped in a red cheongsam, she looked very enchanting and sexy. Li Fan muttered to himself, a woman married by such a rich and powerful family shouldn't be too bad looking. Most importantly, he didn't even know her. How was he supposed to woo her within a month? I really envy young Master Wang for marrying such a beautiful woman. What's there to be envious of? Haven't you heard that Miss Yang is the top hostess of Shuyue brothel? That's why I'm envious. What kind of place is Shuyue brothel? Only famous scholars can go there. Do you think it's the smoky willow alley you usually go to? But I heard that Miss Yang is a little strange. Some people say that she's the reincarnation of a jinx. Go away, don't talk nonsense. Today is young Master Wang's big day. If he hears what you said, you're finished. That person didn't dare to make a sound and kept quiet. It seems like there's a plot to this mission. Li Fan looked at his own attire. He looked like a standard student of the Republic of China. He was wearing a black student uniform, but he didn't know which school he was pretending to be. Miss Yang, Li Fan muttered this name in his heart. From the information he just received, this Miss Yang should be a prostitute. However, many people misunderstood the concept of a brothel. A brothel was different from a brothel. The beauties in a brothel were all talented women who were proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. The customers were also the descendants of famous families. In ancient times, because of the Cheng and Zhou school of Confucianism, the descendants of the aristocratic families were usually engaged from a young age. They could only see their wives on the day of their marriage. Even if they were ugly, they couldn't divorce their wives easily. Therefore, the descendants of the aristocratic families didn't have love. They longed for love and needed it. Therefore, the brothel was born. The prostitutes in the brothel were trained from a young age and all of them were talented women. It wasn't easy for the descendants of the aristocratic families to enter the brothel. If they didn't have any talent, they wouldn't even have the right to see the girls. The talented women in the brothel were also very special. They didn't give the descendants of the aristocratic families sex, but the feeling of true love. In fact, this kind of place also existed in modern times. In the past, those places like Tavern Heaven on Earth that were exposed in the news were this kind of place. However, Tavern Heaven on Earth didn't want any talent. What they wanted was pure money. Li Fan also checked the state of his body. His physical fitness was a bit stronger than ordinary people, but he didn't have any internal force. Obviously, this small world had reduced his ability. Vermilion Bird was Vermilion Bird after all. It wouldn't let him complete the task too easily. Husband and wife bow to each other. The officiator was busy presiding over the wedding. When the couple was about to bow to each other, Li Fan heard someone shouting from the side. Wait! Li Fan turned his head and saw a group of armed soldiers rushing into the wedding hall and surrounded the entire hall. These soldiers were obviously the warlords of other factions. The military uniform they wore was beige. The leader was an officer who walked with a majestic aura that made people unable to look at him directly. Seeing him, Li Fan subconsciously took 2 steps back and shrank into the crowd. Fuck you, isn't this a martial emperor? How did he become an officer? Everyone was here to snatch girls, but this guy is too much. How can he act as an officer? I am a poor student. Isn't the difference in status a bit too big? Fuck your role-playing. Young master, be careful. A guard stood in front of Li Fan, which made Li Fan a bit surprised. Isn't this the Wang family soldier? Why are they here to protect me? The rest of the soldiers protected young Master Wang and his wife. Young Master Wang directly looked at the martial emperor who was acting as an officer and directly questioned. General Liu, what do you mean by this? From the looks of it, it doesn't seem like you are here to congratulate me. How is it not to congratulate you? I have even sent you a gift. The martial emperor laughed and waved his hand. An adjutant behind him walked over and threw a sack on the ground. Young Master Wang ordered someone to open the sack. There was a corpse lying inside. It was a woman. Qian. Young Master Wang's expression changed. How is it? I knew that you were going to marry, so I helped you kill your first wife. This way, you can live together with Miss Yang. Isn't that blissful? You are going too far. Young Master Wang wanted to flare up, but he didn't dare to flare up in front of 100 armed soldiers. So what if I am bullying you? I have taken a fancy to Miss Yang for a long time. How can a gigolo like you snatch her away from me? To tell you the truth, I did not plan to leave empty-handed today. Chapter 1674. Li Fan was speechless. He seemed to be playing the role of the young master of the Wang family, while the martial emperor was playing the role of a great warlord. This guy was actually barging in and trying to snatch Miss Yang away. In this place, the strength of the martial emperor should have been weakened, but he was a warlord, and he was holding a horse-brand pistol in his hand, which was a Browning pistol. The martial emperor directly held the horse-brand pistol and aimed it at young Master Wang's head. You're just a minister of education, do you think I don't dare to touch you? The martial emperor was very pleased with himself. In this place, whoever had military power was the boss. The martial emperor was very lucky. He had played the role of an adjutant of a warlord. Through his own methods, the martial emperor had directly killed his own master and quickly taken over the military power of the previous marshal. He had taken control of the 20,000 troops under his command. With these 20,000 people, the martial emperor had absolute strength in this era of warlords. With this kind of strength, wouldn't it be easy for him to snatch a woman away? The martial emperor was lucky. Firstly, his identity was good, and secondly, he had entered this world more than 10 days earlier than Li Fan. He had his own troops, leaving young Master Wang at his wits' end. Li Fan also frowned, the situation was too disadvantageous to him. If Miss Yang was snatched away by the martial emperor, he didn't know if his strategy would fail. Since the two of them were in the same small world, it meant that he and the martial emperor were going to complete the same mission. However, Miss Yang could only attack once. Out of the two of them, only one could complete it. He began to quickly think of a way. If he did not deal with it, things would really become very bad. Big Sister White Tiger, is there any way? I can lend you my strength. Although it's not particularly strong, it can still be considered a form of combat strength. Big Sister White Tiger's voice sounded in Li Fan's mind, but this way, your identity might also be exposed. A person with special abilities, I think, will be incompatible with this era, and Miss Yang might also be afraid of you, right? Hearing this, Li Fan fell silent. There were too many restrictions, but this was also the rule of the game. Bringing the white tiger and the divine fox in was already a form of cheating. If he cheated too much, he might be rejected by the system or even corrected. Who dares to be so presumptuous in Minister Wang's house? Just as Li Fan's brain was about to explode, a loud shout came from outside. Following that, another group of soldiers filed in. These people were obviously from the same faction. Their military uniforms were all gray, and the leader was a genteel officer. He even wore a pair of glasses, but his eyes gave off a fierce feeling. Brigade Commander Chen. Save me. Young Master Wang seemed to have seen his savior and hurriedly asked him for help. General Liu, what are you doing? Brigade Commander Chen asked coldly. The martial emperor couldn't help but curse. Although this brigade commander Chen was just a small brigade commander, behind him was a powerful warlord with 200,000 soldiers. He was only a small warlord at the moment, and there was no way he could compete with the other party. Young Master Wang is getting married. I'm here to send a congratulatory gift. This gift of yours is a little bloody. This is called putting on a red ribbon. If young Master Wang doesn't like it, I can just take it back. The martial emperor waved his hand. Take it back and bring me 10 little goldfish. The martial emperor exchanged 10 gold bars for them and gave them to the Wang family as a form of apology. Although his wife was killed, young Master Wang had no way to pursue her. In a chaotic war between warlords, the laws were chaotic, and the fist was the law. And Brigade Commander Chen couldn't directly challenge the martial emperor. After all, he was just a brigade commander. It was not easy for him to stand up for the Wang family. I'll give Brigade Commander Chen some face today and withdraw my troops. Before the martial emperor left, he said, however, Miss Yang, I'm afraid you won't have a good life with this young Master Wang. Why don't you consider me? I'll let you eat and drink, wear gold and silver, and guarantee you a life like a queen. It's the Republic of China now. There's no queen for a long time. Brigade Commander Chen pushed up his glasses and said, General Liu, what you're saying is a little perverse. Life is very chaotic now. Today, General Yuan is the emperor, tomorrow, Whip Lord is restored. Who knows what will happen? The martial emperor snorted. All right, I'm leaving. Think about it yourselves. The martial emperor left a few threatening words, turned around, and left with his soldiers. Li Fan heaved a sigh of relief, but he cursed in his heart. The martial emperor, that son of a bitch, actually played this game. He wanted to force Miss Yang to take the initiative to join him. Since I'm here, he can forget about succeeding. Brigade Commander Chen, thank you very much for today. Young Master Wang cupped his hands at Brigade Commander Chen, sincerely grateful. What kind of relationship do we have? We're classmates and good friends. Brigade Commander Chen patted young Master Wang's shoulder. You were frightened today. It's your brother's fault for not protecting you well. How can I blame you? Who knew that General Liu would be so ruthless? Young Master Wang was very sad. My wife's body is still in his hands. I'm afraid it'll cost me a lot to redeem it. Marshal Liu is ruthless. We have to be on guard against him. Brigade Commander Chen glanced at Miss Yang, who was wearing a red veil, and did not continue. Looks like I won't be able to attend your wedding today. That's right. With such a big incident happening at home, we can't hold the banquet anymore. Wei, I'll have to trouble you to stay at home for a few days. When everything calms down, we'll hold this wedding again. Miss Yang nodded, seemingly unable to walk due to fear. Finally, she returned to her room with the help of the two maids. Xiaoqing, help me coax her. I'll settle the matter here. Young Master Wang turned his head and said to Li Fan. Li Fan was dumbfounded. Fuck, what did he mean? As an elder brother, he wanted him to coax his fiancée. Was that a good idea? But he could not let go of the opportunity in front of him. Li Fan nodded without hesitation and turned to follow the two maids. Just as he left, he heard Brigade Commander Chen's voice behind him. Brother, you have to be careful. This Miss Yang might really be a little evil. Li Fan curled his lips. Feudal superstition. Since ancient times, emperors, generals, and ministers had always been like this. They took all the good things for themselves and pushed all the bad things to women. Once the country was destroyed, there would always be a woman to take the blame. Who did Miss Yang provoke this time? It was all because of the martial emperor's own stupid dick. Li Fan walked along the corridor, passed through 2 courtyards, and arrived at the side room where Miss Yang was staying. Young master. The two maids at the door bowed to Li Fan. You may leave. I have a few words with my sister-in-law. Li Fan waved his hand and used his authority to dismiss the two maids. Hee, beautiful sister-in-law, your brother-in-law is here to visit. Chapter 1675. Before Li Fan entered the house, he smelled a burst of fragrance. This Miss Yang seems to be very particular. Is the house that she lives in incense? Li Fan pushed the door and walked in. He saw Miss Yang sitting there, wearing a red dress and a veil. Her exquisite figure sitting on the bed is somewhat pitiful. Wei, are you sad? Li Fan tried hard to remember. That seemed to be her name. You don't even want to call me sister-in-law? The woman faintly asks. Is it that you all don't want me to marry into the Wang family? No. Li Fan mutters, of course I do. But not to marry my cheap brother, but to marry me, this romantic and elegant transmigration handsome guy. I know you all think I'm a jinx. Yang Weining seems to be very sad. She puts her hands on her knees, feeling extremely sad. But I really like your brother, he is talented and romantic. To be able to meet him is my honor in this life. Don't say that. To be able to marry you is my brother's honor in 3 lifetimes. Li Fan says good words to coax Miss Yang. Miss Yang is famous all over the world. How many men in this world don't want to marry you? I'm afraid none of the men in this world are really willing to marry me. Yang Weining smiles bitterly, they only love my beauty. How many of them are really moved by me? Especially since I carry the title of Jinx, I'm afraid these men are even more afraid to avoid me. How can you say that? Li Fan pats his chest, what about me? Am I not a man? Did I avoid you? You are also very good. What you learned is new and very useful. Yang Weining praises, your Wang family gave birth to 2 good sons. If I can also give birth to a son like you, that would be great. Do you want me to be your son? Li Fan does not know whether to laugh or cry. No. Where did you hear that? Yang Weining hurriedly explains, I'm just purely envious of you. If only I could have been born in a family like yours. Don't be sad. What those people like to say is their business. In any case, I've never thought of you as some kind of bullshit jinx. You are an intelligent and gentle woman. I admire your charm. Really, Yang Weining seemed a little touched. Yeah. Don't be sad. Take off the veil first. As he spoke, Li Fan reached out and took off Yang Weining's veil. No matter what, he had to first imagine the feeling of being a groom. Don't. Before Yang Weining could stop him, Li Fan had already taken off her veil. A peerless beauty appeared in front of Li Fan, causing Li Fan to hold his breath for 2 seconds. My goodness, this woman is a little beautiful. You are too rash. Yang Weining wrinkled her pretty little nose and looked at Li Fan with dissatisfaction. It's the husband who removes the veil. It's all the old rules. Moreover, this is not a formal occasion. Yang Weining's expression calmed down a little when she heard this. Forget it, it's my bad luck. No, I swear, I will make you happy, Weining. Hearing this, Yang Weining burst out in laughter. You silly boy, what nonsense are you talking about? Yang Weining said with a smile, you're not my husband. How can you make me happy? As long as your brother is good to me, it's fine. Li Fan secretly thought, this woman's heart is so concerned about her cheap brother. Should I kill him? For a moment, Li Fan's heart was suffused with thick killing intent. But it was only for a moment. He immediately put away this thought. If he did this, what difference would there be between him and a martial emperor? If he sacrificed a woman in order to save mankind, Li Fan could not do such a sanctimonious thing. Even if he managed to catch her, he should not use this kind of underhanded method. What's wrong with you? It's nothing, Weining. You've been tossing and turning all day and haven't eaten anything. I'll go get you some food. Li Fan was about to go out when he heard Yang Weining say. Shaoqing, you seem to be different today. Ah. What's different? Li Fan felt a little guilty. Could it be that I've been seen through? You seem to be a little gentle today. Yang Weining said with a smile, in the past, although you were also talented, you were always a little radical. After saying that, Yang Weining couldn't help but cover her mouth. I'm sorry. I said something wrong. It's okay. You're right. I may have been a little radical before, but I won't be in the future. Li Fan said, who knows what kind of loser I used to be. Maybe I was a student activist. In short, today's main purpose is to make you, the bride, happy. Li Fan said and went out the door. When he came back, he was holding some snacks in his hand. However, he saw his cheapskate brother standing at the door, looking at young Weining inside and talking to her. Weining, I'm sorry today. It's not your fault. It's my fault for bringing disaster to your family. Yang Weining's voice was slightly low, as if she was in a bad mood again. Don't say that. This is not your problem. Young Master Wang also coaxed his fiancée. Today's matter happened a bit too suddenly, and the old man was also a bit angry. He decided to let you stay in the Wang family's courtyard for a few days, and when the wedding is ready, he will let you stay back. Yang Weining's face suddenly lost color as she looked at her sweetheart in a daze. You want to chase me away? I'm not chasing you away, I just want you to change places to stay for 2 days. You see, we're not married yet. If I let you stay here now, I'm afraid that people outside will gossip. Yes, you have a good reputation, and you're afraid of gossip. I understand. Yang Weining nodded, her eyes listless. Forget about the courtyard. Living there will also affect your Wang family's reputation. I'll go back to Shuyue brothel. Look at what you're saying, how can I let you go to Shuyue brothel? I love you very much, and I'm doing this for your own good. You have to understand me. As young Master Wang spoke, Li Fan walked up and grabbed his brother's collar. Xiaoqing, what are you doing? Xiaoqing? The fiancé was stunned. They did not expect that Li Fan would come out and interfere. To think that you're the Minister of Education. Li Fan stared at his cheapskate brother and scolded, foolish, ignorant. Miss Yang likes you so much, but you treat her like this? Do you have any respect for her? If not, how can you talk about loving her? Li Fan's words made young Master Wang speechless for a while, but Yang Weining's body trembled slightly. Xiaoqing, you don't understand. You're still young. Young Master Wang pushed Li Fan away, adjusted his tie, and said to Yang Weining, that's it, you have to understand me. Chapter 1676. Let's stay in the courtyard for 2 days. Although we haven't finished the wedding ceremony, you can be considered as my wife. Young Master Wang said to Miss Yang, since you're a wife, you must listen to your husband. All right, I'll listen to you. Miss Yang seemed to have given up. She bitterly smiled and prepared to pack her luggage. It might not be safe at home these 2 days. Young Master Wang said to Li Fan, you should also stay in the courtyard. Marshal Lu doesn't know where it is, so you won't be in danger. Since it's so dangerous, why don't you live with us? Miss Yang was suddenly touched. Is he worried about my safety? That's why he wants me to live there. I'm the Minister of Education, a government official. He won't dare to do anything to me. Then you must be careful. If you're in danger, I don't want to live anymore. Miss Yang's words moved young Master Wang. Don't worry, I'll be fine. As long as you and Xiaoqing are safe, I'll be satisfied. No matter what, young Master Wang's words made Li Fan feel a little touched. His cheap brother seems to be quite good to him. Let's go, I'll let Xiao Shen protect you. The young officer who had been protecting Li Fan walked out and saluted him. Second young master. Madam. Hurry up and go. Leave the rest to me. Young Master Wang arranged for the 2 of them to leave the Wang mansion. The 2 of them sat in a small car and walked towards the courtyard. Xiaoqing. Do you think I've caused trouble for young master? Yang Weining was sitting beside him. She had already changed into a black dress. Her pair of jade legs attracted a few more glances. She was looking out the window when she suddenly asked Li Fan. Young master was Li Fan's cheap brother, young Master Wang. How could that be? There are warlords now and the world is very chaotic. Li Fan felt that this comrade Yang Weining might have a heart of glass, so he hurriedly comforted her. There are a lot of people who hate my brother. Even without you, I think those so-called Marshal Lu or Marshal Ma would also find an opportunity to attack my brother. I don't want to be a burden to him, or should I go through thick and thin with him? Yang Weining suddenly understood something. She hurriedly said, how can I leave his side at such an important moment? Zhao Sheng, send me back. I want to accompany him. Li Fan understood Yang Weining very well. In this era, their love was very pure. Yang Weining believed that since she loved Wang Xiaofu, she had to live and die with him. However, Li Fan stopped Yang Weining and persuaded her. You won't be able to help even if you go back. My brother wants you to be safe so he doesn't have to worry about you. When Yang Weining heard Li Fan's words, she calmed down a little. Sigh, speaking of which, I'm still like a burden. No, I won't. You can stay here peacefully. When things have calmed down, we'll go back. Alright, that's the only way. Yang Weining didn't have any ideas. She could only listen to Li Fan's arrangements. The car drove all the way back to the courtyard, but Yang Weining was still worried. Just as the car drove out of the Wang family's territory, a few gunmen dressed in black suddenly rushed out. One of them directly shot the car's tires. Zhao Sheng was shocked. He quickly jumped out of the car, opened the door and shot at the gunman. Second young master, madam, quickly hide. Damn it, Li Fan pressed Yang Weining under his body. He knew in his heart that this was definitely a gunman sent by the martial emperor to snatch Yang Weining back. This brainless martial emperor had gone too far. With a gun, could he do anything he wanted? Zhao Sheng had already knocked down 2 gunmen, but he was only one person. There were more than 10 people in front of him, and they were closing in on him. If he wasn't worried about killing Yang Weining, Zhao Sheng and the others would have been killed long ago. Zhao Sheng, give me a pistol. Li Fan shouted at Zhao Sheng. Second young master, quickly take your wife and leave. I'll help you stall them. Zhao Sheng was loyal and devoted. He shouted at them without turning his head. It doesn't matter. Give me a gun. Otherwise, no one will be able to escape. Li Fan insisted. Zhao Sheng had no choice but to pull out a shell gun from his waist and throw it to Li Fan. This thing was also known as a box cannon in China. Even during the War of Resistance, many people used this kind of weapon. Li Fan held the shell gun and began to circulate the White Tiger's power, strengthening Li Fan's physique. His eyes could even see the traces of the bullets coming and going. Hide well. Li Fan pressed Yang Weining down on the car and jumped out. He hid behind the car door and began to fight back. He shot one gunman between the eyebrows, then another gunman's eye. Li Fan was like a sharpshooter. Every shot killed an opposing gunman without the slightest mistake. Damn it! They have a sharpshooter. Kill him. But there are only 6 of us left. We don't dare to show our faces. The remaining gunmen all hid. As long as they show their faces, they will be killed by the other party. They had a total of 15 brothers, and now there were only 6 left. Second young master, your marksmanship is too powerful. Even Zhao Sheng was impressed by Li Fan's marksmanship. Second young master alone was enough to make the other party unable to raise their heads. Continue. Li Fan said as he got up and walked in the direction of the gunmen. Those gunmen were anxious. If Dong Xiaobing got closer, wouldn't they be dead? One of the gunmen couldn't help but raise his head. In the end, the moment he revealed his head was shot by Li Fan. I'll count to 3. Everyone, come out. The leader of the gunmen knew this wouldn't do. He took the lead to count to 3. After counting to 3, the remaining 5 people raised their heads and aimed at Li Fan. However, Li Fan was holding the corpse of a gunman in his hand. The gunman randomly fired a few shots and hit the corpse. Li Fan fired 3 shots in a row. 3 gunmen fell to the ground and died. It was a clean and neat kill. The remaining 2 gunmen had already collapsed. The guy in front of them was too abnormal. They were not his match at all. The marshal had sent them to snatch the woman, but how could it be a happy mission like snatching a woman? It was clearly a suicide mission. Bang, bang. Li Fan finished firing the last 2 bullets. The 2 gunmen who escaped fell to the ground and died. Li Fan had no way to leave them alive. If he let them go back alive, the martial emperor would be able to guess that it was him who did it even if he used his toes. Second young master, you're too amazing. Zhao Xing put away his pistol and walked to Li Fan's side. His face was full of excitement. I didn't know your marksmanship was so godly. I learned it from a friend. No need to make a fuss. Li Fan waved his hand and walked to the car. He saw Yang Weining lying on the car, shivering. Chapter 1677. Second young master, the tires are all broken, we can't leave. Zhao Xing glanced at the car, it was basically scrapped. The tires were broken, the door was also full of bullet holes, it was as miserable as one could imagine. It's okay. Li Fan looked at the shivering Yang Weining, it was obvious that this girl was frightened by the gunfight. He directly reached out and carried Yang Weining in his arms, then ordered Zhao Xing, bring us to the courtyard. Where the courtyard was, Li Fan did not know. At this moment, Zhao Xing had become his only hope. He could act as the second young master of the Wang family, he must make good use of this identity. From a certain point of view, Li Fan felt that his identity was much more convenient than that Lu Dashuai. Yang Weining tightly leaned into Li Fan's arms, she trusted Li Fan very much, allowing him to hug her. This Miss Yang's figure was not bad, her weight was very light, her body felt soft, not heavy at all. This kind of beauty, Li Fan could hug 10 more. But not too far away, there was a rickshaw in front of them. In this public place, Li Fan kept hugging Miss Yang, she would probably have some resistance in her heart. It was good to do things moderately, if it was more than this, it would have the opposite effect. Second young master, we've arrived at the courtyard. Soon, they arrived in front of a small bungalow in the south of the city. This place belonged to the British concession, ordinary warlords did not dare to mess around, so it was relatively safe. The small bungalow was not very big, it had its own courtyard, a total of 2 floors, it looked very unique. There were also flowers in the courtyard, it was unknown who planted them. Big Madam used to live here, after Li Fan asked around, Zhao Xing answered him, today is Big Young Master's big day. Big Madam was not in a good mood, so she went to the temple to burn incense and pray. In the end, sigh, so this is where sister-in-law used to live. Li Fan carried Yang Weining, who was still in shock, and carried her directly into the small bungalow. The furniture in the house was relatively simple, it could be seen that the Big Madam was a woman who did not like to show off. The environment here is not bad. Miss Yang, you should rest here. Li Fan carried Yang Weining into the bedroom upstairs and gently placed her on the bed. When he was about to leave, Yang Weining suddenly grabbed his hand. Xiaoqing, don't go yet, what happened? Li Fan stopped and looked at Yang Weining. Don't go. I'm scared, Yang Weining was almost kidnapped today, and then she saw a gunfight. She saw so much blood and dead people. She was usually gentle and elegant, but now she couldn't stand it anymore. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Li Fan sat by Yang Weining's bed. I'll watch you fall asleep. Why are you so nice? Yang Weining felt warm inside. You're so good to me. If only your brother was half as good as you are, does my brother not treat you well? It's not that he's not good. It's just that in his heart, it's more about the country and the world. Yang Weining sighed softly. Although this is what I admire about him. But if he could remember me a little more. That would be better. My brother is more ambitious. He's different from an idle person like me. No, don't say that. Yang Weining pulled Li Fan's hand and hurriedly said, you're also very outstanding, it's just that your character is not the same as your brother. I'm definitely not as good as my brother. Li Fan sighed deeply. Otherwise, why would you choose my brother and not me? You. How can you talk nonsense? Yang Weining's face immediately turned red. If you make this kind of joke again, I'll scold you. It's my fault for making a joke. Li Fan stopped and immediately looked at Yang Weining tenderly. You can sleep for a while. You'll feel better when you wake up. I don't dare to sleep. Yang Weining became nervous again. When I close my eyes, I can see those dead people. They're all staring at me, as if they want to eat me. Don't be afraid. I'm not doing that. Li Fan comforted her. No matter how terrible those people are, I still killed them. As long as I'm here with you, they won't dare to come. Thinking of Li Fan's heroic appearance, Yang Weining nodded her head, but then said, I thought your Wang family only produces scholars. I didn't expect there's a young hero like you. I'm not a young hero. I'm just a student who learned some spear art from a friend. Li Fan smiled and said, I don't seek to serve my country. As long as I can protect you, that's enough. Why do you have such little ambition? Yang Weining stretched out her hand and gently touched Li Fan's nose. With your ability, you should do something earth-shattering. Women like men who do big things. Since ancient times, the rule of the country is to rule the world. If you can't even protect your own family, how can you do big things? Li Fan's words made Yang Weining a bit surprised. This youth in front of her was different from the people she had seen before. In the Republic of China, these talented and capable people either seek wealth or fame. There would always be one that they wanted. But this youth in front of her seemed to have no desire. Women like ambitious men. Just like Yang Weining, she was obsessed with Wang Xiaofu's feelings of serving the country and the people. But this Wang Xiaoqing in front of her had another kind of charm that made women unable to help but be obsessed with him. Li Fan chatted with Yang Weining for a long time. From astronomy to geography, they talked about life and philosophy. Li Fan's way of talking and view of the world surprised Yang Weining. This person's way of thinking, it's hard to say if it's advanced or terrifying. But it's indeed incompatible with this era. Okay, it's time for dinner. I'll go prepare dinner. You rest first. You can cook. Yang Weining was a bit surprised. Why not? A man can actually enter the kitchen. Yang Weining felt a bit unbelievable. It's very normal. Moreover, the food you cook is also delicious. Li Fan said and was about to go out. Yang Weining didn't want to stay in the room alone. She directly sat up. Let me do it. You've learned the 4 arts, how would you know how to cook? Li Fan smiled. Talented girls in the brothel can recite poems, but cooking? Forget it. Then I'll go with you to take a look. Yang Weining was very curious. Without any explanation, she followed Li Fan to the kitchen. Do you like meat or something lighter? Something lighter. Chapter 1678. Li Fan made crab roe soup with some side dishes. He had Chiu Er, the chef, by his side. In order to make it convenient for him to eat something similar when he was outside, he learned from Chiu Er. Yang Weining almost swallowed her own tongue when she ate the crab roe soup that he made. This skill. Even the head chef of Shuyue brothel might not be able to make it. Where did you learn this from? I learned it from a friend. Li Fan spouted nonsense. Your friends are really amazing. They know everything. You too, learn everything. Yang Weining advised Li Fan, remember, a person's energy is limited. You've learned so many things, but you're not good at it. Yes, I accept Miss Yang's criticism. Li Fan immediately criticized himself, I'll focus on my studies in the future, so I won't cook for you. Anyway, there's no one at home to cook. You can cook if you want. Yang Weining regretted it immediately. Li Fan didn't cook, and she didn't know how to start a fire. Where could she eat such delicious food in the future? Even if there were, Yang Weining didn't want to let others do it, not to mention that there were no servants to cook for her. Eat more to nourish your body. You eat more too. You're still growing. Li Fan said, I'm already so old, and I'm still growing. Even if I'm acting as the second young master, I'm probably in my 20s. Oh right. Last time you told me. You wanted to join the revolution, Yang Weining suddenly asked. The situation is so chaotic now, who do you want to fight against? Not necessarily, I just have this thought. Before that, it's my job to take care of you. Li Fan secretly rolled his eyes. He didn't even know what year it was now. The situation during the Republic of China was too chaotic. First, Yuan Shikai forced the Qing emperor to abdicate, then old Yuan ascended to the throne under the encouragement of his silly son, wanting to establish a constitutional monarchy, but he failed. Then, Zhang Sun led the Braid army to restore the throne, but he also failed. A few years later, the Japanese invaded, followed by the civil war between the Kuomintang and the Communist Party. All of these things happened in just a few decades. Li Fan didn't know which period he was in, but that wasn't important. His current task was to conquer Yang Weining. In this turbulent era, as long as he could make this uneasy brothel girl who had married into a wealthy family fall in love with him, his mission would be considered a success. Theoretically speaking, this should be a small virtual world constructed by the Vermilion Bird. However, Li Fan could not overcome the hurdle in his heart. He could not objectify the woman in front of him. She looked so real that no one could hurt her. Xiaoqing, you can't just stay at home. How about asking your brother to introduce you to a job? You're a university student, and your marksmanship is pretty good. Why don't you ask him to recommend you to be Brigade Commander Chen's adjutant or something? With Li Fan's ability, he would be able to make military contributions very quickly and then be promoted. With Brigade Commander Chen's help, it should be even easier. There's no rush. Li Fan waved his hand. These are all small matters. Taking care of you is the important thing. Aya, why do you always like to put your energy on women? Because if you're not happy, I can't work in peace. Li Fan laughed, making Yang Weining blush again. You're doing it again. If you talk nonsense again, be careful that I report you to your brother. Go ahead. Li Fan put on a scoundrel's face. Ask him to transfer me away. You can stay here alone. Humph, Yang Weining was really caught. If she were to stay here alone, she really didn't dare to stay here anymore. She didn't know when those people who wanted to kill them would come again. Tell me. Who sent those gunmen? Yang Weining suddenly asked. I don't know, but they're definitely not good people. Li Fan didn't tell Yang Weining. He was afraid that Yang Weining would feel sad and think that he was a jinx or something. Maybe they want to take revenge on my brother and capture me. Fortunately, your marksmanship is good. Otherwise, you'd be in danger today. Yang Weining thought for a moment and asked Li Fan, how about you teach me how to shoot? Why do you want to learn how to shoot? You can learn how to cook, why can't I learn how to shoot? Yang Weining looked at Li Fan provocatively, didn't you just tell me that men and women are equal? Okay, then you have a good rest today. Tomorrow morning, I'll teach you how to shoot. Okay. Thinking that she had something to do tomorrow, Yang Weining seemed to be a little happy. Once she mastered her marksmanship, she wouldn't be a burden to junior tutor and junior minister, right? Who said that she only knew how to play the zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting? Maybe she could also be a handsome female soldier. After the meal, the two went to rest separately. The next morning, Yang Weining pestered Li Fan, wanting to learn how to shoot. The courtyard behind the bungalow was very spacious. Li Fan brought Yang Weining to the courtyard and placed a few water jars. Women's hands are small, and you haven't gone through any special training. Just use this grenade. Li Fan asked Zhao Sheng to get him an M1906 pistol. This pistol is very small, suitable for a woman like Yang Weining. This gun looks very unique. Yang Weining carefully looked at the gun in her hand. She didn't expect that a killing weapon could be so exquisite. What kind of gun are you using? I'm using this. Li Fan picked up the box cannon he had used yesterday. This thing had been exaggerated in movies and TV dramas. All kinds of soldiers holding the box cannon, shooting from the front, from the side, and their marksmanship was godly. That was impossible. This is because this kind of box cannon is very easy to jump. It is said that the Westerners don't use this thing, but because of the warlords in China, they imported it in large quantities and produced it. However, if this gun does not have a wooden butt, it can only be used horizontally. This way, it can prevent the bullet shell from burning the user's face. Only Li Fan, with his strong arm strength, can use this box cannon freely. To Li Fan, the recoil of the box cannon and the jump of the muzzle are non-existent. This gun is so ugly. Can I try it? You still need to use it. Hearing Yang Weining's request, Li Fan doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Forget it. You can't use it. You should use this grenade. I want to try. Yang Weining is very curious and reaches out to grab Li Fan's gun. Li Fan is afraid of hurting her, so he let go and let Yang Weining take the gun. I don't believe that a woman can't use this gun. As Yang Weining spoke, she grabbed the box cannon and aimed at the can in front of her. Then, she pulled the trigger. Bang! With a scream, Yang Weining's arm was raised high, and her body fell backward. Chapter 1679. Li Fan took a step forward and caught her in his arms, helping Yang Weining stabilize her body. Yang Weining was a little angry. She said angrily, "Why is this gun so powerful? The recoil of this gun is indeed very strong," Li Fan said as he leaned behind Yang Weining. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and grabbed Yang Weining's hand, helping her stabilize the gun. At the same time, he turned the box cannon horizontally. Horizontally? Yeah. If this box cannon is shot head-on, when the shell pops out, it will easily burn your face. Li Fan stabilized her hand and whispered in her ear. Try firing again. Yeah, Yang Weining looked at the can opposite her. Based on her intuition, she fired a shot. Bang! The shell fell to the side, and the bullet shot straight into the wooden board behind. It's a miss. Yang Weining was a little discouraged. How do I aim with this gun? It's almost impossible to aim with this kind of gun. It's just for show. It looks ugly too. Then how did you hit so accurately? Li Fan couldn't explain. He couldn't possibly say that he relied on White Tiger to strengthen his ability, allowing him to quickly judge the bullet's trajectory. It's just a feeling. With that said, Li Fan held Yang Weining's hand, changed the direction of the muzzle, and fired another shot. Bang! The bullet shattered the can. Amazing! This shot made Yang Weining a little excited. When can I also practice this kind of marksmanship? You'll get better with more practice. Li Fan smiled. But you should start practicing with this palm thunder first. Okay. Yang Weining nodded. Li Fan leaned behind her and slowly corrected the posture of holding the gun for her. Why do I have to hold the gun with both hands? Yang Weining didn't understand. I see a lot of people holding the gun with one hand. It's very cool. That way of holding the gun is just for show. It's not practical at all. Li Fan explained, only this posture can make the gun more stable. And look ahead, this is called 3 points and 1 line. These 3 dots and a line are your eyes, the ruler of the gun, and the target. Yang Weining was also a little nervous. She took a deep breath and slowly aimed at the opposite can. Li Fan loosened his grip. Yang Weining maintained her posture and fired. Pa! The jar was broken. Success! Yang Weining was very happy. She turned around and hugged Li Fan. A fragrant wind blew against his face, and Li Fan felt a little happy. Soon, she suddenly reacted and let go of Li Fan with a red face. So sorry. Xiao Qing, it's okay, let's continue. Li Fan looked magnanimous. At this time, a familiar voice came from outside. Weining, Xiaoqing, what are you two doing? Weining was shocked at first, then she was delighted, and then she felt a little embarrassed. Brother, you're here. Li Fan looked at ease and said with a smile, I'm teaching Miss Yang how to shoot. The Republic of China era was good. Even if Li Fan said so, Wang Xiaofu didn't think too much of it. The people were simple and honest. Simple and honest. You're also mischievous. When did you learn how to shoot? Wang Xiaofu looked at his younger brother dotingly. I learned it from my classmate. Li Fan fiddled with the pistol. The situation is chaotic now. How can I protect myself without learning how to shoot? You're right. I heard that you killed a lot of mysterious gunmen yesterday. Wang Xiaofu stepped forward to check Li Fan's body. Are you hurt? I'm fine. You should also care about Miss Yang. Weining, are you okay? Wang Xiaofu's gaze fell on Weining. I'm fine. Don't worry. Xiaoqing and Xiaoxing protected me very well. Yang Weining didn't blame Wang Xiaofu. Instead, she felt happy that he came over. Xiaofu, it's very dangerous to go out now. You have to pay more attention to your own safety. Tell them to assign a few more guards for you. Those clowns, why should I be afraid of them? Wang Xiaofu coldly said, these people are hindering the progress of the times. They won't live long. In short, be careful. Yang Weining suddenly suggested, how about you learn some spear techniques? It can be considered as a way to protect yourself. Forget about spear techniques. I don't have the energy to learn that. If you like it, then learn it so you won't be bored at home. The three of them returned to the bungalow. Wang Xiaofu originally planned to stay here to accompany them for dinner, but soon a guard ran over and said something to him. Something happened. I have to hurry back. Wang Xiaofu put on the jacket that he had just taken off. You two eat by yourselves. I'll leave first. Be careful. Although Yang Weining was somewhat disappointed, she didn't say anything. She walked Wang Xiaofu out the door. Li Fan could feel that this cheap brother of his still occupied a large place in Yang Weining's heart. If he wanted to occupy Yang Weining's heart, he still needed to put in more effort. For a month, Li Fan and Yang Weining spent half a month in this bungalow, almost intimately entwined with each other. In this half a month, their relationship had indeed warmed up a lot. Li Fan could feel that Yang Weining had become more and more dependent on him. In this half a month, Yang Weining's spear technique had also made some progress. Xiaoqing, I want to eat your steak tonight. When Li Fan was sitting in the room checking his pistol, Yang Weining came over and stretched out her hand. She gently placed both her hands on Li Fan's shoulder and said to him. Sure, I'll let Xiao Xin go out and buy some beef. Let's go out and buy it together. Yang Weining shook Li Fan's shoulder. I'm so bored staying in the house. In this half a month, Yang Weining didn't go out at all. After all, Wang Xiaofu had instructed them to stay in the bungalow because it was too dangerous outside. It's a bit dangerous outside. Didn't brother tell us not to go out? It's okay. This is the British concession, there won't be any danger. Yang Weining hurriedly said, I'm so bored that I'm going to get sick. Just take me out for a walk, okay? How about this, there's a Qingxin lake not far away. The scenery is pretty good. Li Fan thought for a moment and decided to fulfill Yang Weining's wish. How about we go there for a walk? Okay. Yang Weining was as happy as a lark. She was even softly humming a tune, which was very pleasant to hear. Li Fan looked at her and muttered in his heart. In history, was there really a person named Yang Weining? Such a cute and affectionate woman, Li Fan was really a bit moved. However, he was also restraining himself. The mission was more important. It was to conquer Yang Weining, not to be conquered. Moreover, it was not a good thing to fall in love with a virtual woman. Yang Weining changed into a beautiful black dress and followed Li Fan out of the bungalow. Sir, they finally came out. They made us wait for a long time. Not far away, two soldiers hid on top of a small building, watching Li Fan and the others. Chapter 1680. As long as Yang Weining is still under his protection, Li Fan has the confidence to attack Vermilion Bird Pagoda. At the very least, he can guarantee that the martial emperor will not be able to complete the mission. There is only one person who can attack Vermilion Bird Pagoda. Even if it isn't him, it definitely can't be the martial emperor. Li Fan is worried that the martial emperor will also think of this. After such a long time, he should have guessed that he has already entered Vermilion Bird Pagoda. According to the martial emperor's character, if he can't get it, he will destroy it. If he finds out that he can't complete the mission, maybe he will directly kill Yang Weining and let Li Fan fail as well. Just as Li Fan left the building, he already felt a murderous aura. The so-called murderous aura is actually a very vague concept. In general, it is Li Fan's perception of danger. The 1-month deadline, if the martial emperor arrived a few days earlier than him, his time should be almost up. If he fails the mission, it is estimated that he will be forced to stay in this small world, waiting for him to meet the Vermilion Bird descendant before he can leave this place. In this case, the martial emperor will definitely not wait to make a move. The air outside is still the best. Yang Weining held a small parasol and stood beside Li Fan, taking a deep breath of the outside air. At this time, the air in China is still very good, relatively fresh. Even if it is only a small world, Li Fan feels very comfortable breathing. You say, how beautiful it is here. Yang Weining pointed to the sparkling Qingxin Lake not far away. It would be good if there is no war, everywhere is like this scenery, it must be extremely beautiful. In the near future, there will definitely be no war. Li Fan said. Really? After Yang Weining heard this, she also has some expectations. I hope that I can live for a few more years to see that day. She thought of something and suddenly felt a little sad. What's wrong with you? I just think that at that time, you should have married a young beauty. At that time, your heart will be filled with her and you won't be thinking about me, Miss Yang. What do you mean by that? Li Fan smiled. Yang Weining's girlish demeanor really made people unable to help but dote on her. No matter what, I will always remember Miss Yang in my heart. Then, you must leave a place for me in your heart. What about you? I will also leave a place for you in my heart. Yang Weining pointed at her chest. Right here. It's such a big piece, okay? Alright. Li Fan was very happy. This meant that Yang Weining already had him in her heart. This was a good thing, an extremely good thing. He had completed more than half of his quest guide. When everything fell into place and Yang Weining was willing to follow him, everything would be complete. The two of them came to the lakeside. Because it was the British concession, no matter how chaotic the outside world was, it was still like a paradise. Some people of the upper class stayed here and lived a stable life. At this moment, there were a few people boating on the Qingxin Lake, looking very relaxed. Let's go too, okay? Yang Weining suggested. Sure. The two of them boated on the lake. This was a good opportunity to promote their relationship. How could Li Fan refuse? He readily agreed. The two of them rented a small boat on the shore. Yang Weining held an umbrella while Li Fan rowed the boat and slowly swam to the center of the lake. Most of the people on the lake were couples, which made Yang Weining very envious. She was a talented woman of her generation. She loved nothing but heroic young men. Wang Xiaofu had entered her heart back then. She had once fantasized that one day she could play on the lake with her sweetheart like this. But now, she glanced at Wang Xiaoqing sitting in front of her. He seemed to be not bad. She did not feel depressed. Instead, she felt very happy. Perhaps, this was the life he wanted. Or perhaps, Xiaoqing's position in her heart had surpassed that of junior tutor. Oh. How could this be? Could it be that she was a fickle woman? But Xiaoqing was indeed very good. He was outstanding and gentle to her. Yang Weining even felt that she was a little greedy for the feeling of being by Xiaoqing's side. Sometimes she even thought that if she had not married junior tutor, what are you thinking about? Noticing that Yang Weining was staring at him in a daze, Li Fan asked. Ah, no, nothing. There's a flower boat over there. Let's go take a look. Miss Yang was a little flustered. She subconsciously pointed to a big boat at the side and said, My Miss Yang, that's a flower boat. Do you really want to go take a look? Hearing this, Li Fan could not help but laugh. Yang Weining also realized it. But in her heart, she decided to go all the way if she was wrong. That's nothing. There's no harm in going up and taking a look. Yang Weining bit the bullet and said, I just want to take a look and join in the fun. Okay, then let's go take a look. Li Fan did not stop her. If Yang Weining wanted to take a look, then let her. In any case, she would not be at a disadvantage. The two of them boarded the flower boat from the side. The inside of the flower boat was very lively. Seeing them, Yang Weining's expression was very natural. After all, she came from Shuyue brothel. In her eyes, these were all child's play. Two esteemed guests, this way please. Seeing that the two of them were dressed well, the madam personally came out to welcome them and led them to a private room on the boat. Young master, do you need someone to accompany you to drink? The madam still asked. There were a lot of people who brought their own prostitutes here. Many of them would still order other girls to accompany them to drink. No need. What about a singer? You can have a singer. Without waiting for Li Fan to speak, Yang Weining had already agreed. After ordering some food and wine, she waited for the madam to leave before saying to Li Fan, We're all here to earn money. It's not easy. If you can help, then help. Okay, it's up to you. Li Fan was almost obedient to Yang Weining. This was also one of the reasons why Yang Weining liked to stay by Li Fan's side. After a while, the singer came in and began to sing a song according to Yang Weining's request. Yang Weining looked through the window and looked at the lake outside. While enjoying this leisurely feeling, she asked Li Fan. This place is very good. Xiaoqing, do you come here often? In all honesty, it's my first time here. Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Although he had thought of going to a flower boat and drinking wine with prostitutes, he had never put it into practice. This time, if not for Yang Weining wanting to come up to take a look, he wouldn't have come to this brothel. Why are you nervous? Yang Weining smiled sweetly, I'm not being mean to you. Besides, my family background is not better than this place. If not for junior tutor redeeming my freedom. I'm afraid that today, I would also be sitting in that Shuyue brothel, playing the zither for everyone. My brother always said that you're talented. I really want to meet you. Chapter 1681. Why are you so curious? Yang Weining was slightly embarrassed, moreover. I haven't played the zither for so long, my zither skills may have been neglected, Miss Yang, please do me the honor. Li Fan's smile made Yang Weining unable to refuse. All right then. Yang Weining stuffed $2 to the singing lady, then left her pipa and held it in her arms. She sat in front of Li Fan and began to play the pipa. The light tune, coupled with Yang Weining's beautiful voice, was like the sound of nature. The best music Li Fan had ever heard was the song played by Cheng Mohan. But compared to Yang Weining in front of him, it paled in comparison. Yang Weining, Miss Yang, is the real music master. This kind of woman who can play music that makes Li Fan infatuated, is she really just a character that exists in an illusory small world? How is it, does it sound good? Yang Weining put down the pipa and shyly asked Li Fan. Although she was already famous in Shuyue restaurant, she didn't know why, but today in front of Li Fan, she became a little shy. Even when she played the zither in front of young master, she didn't have this kind of feeling. Looking at Li Fan's appreciative gaze, Yang Weining felt a burst of satisfaction. Miss Yang's zither is not bad, why don't you play another song for this marshal? At this moment, the curtain was pulled open, and a strong figure rudely walked in and directly sat beside them. Behind him were 4 gunmen in Chinese tunic suits. The 4 of them took out 4 imitation German MP-18I submachine guns and aimed the muzzles at Li Fan. General Liu. When Yang Weining saw this man, she suddenly panicked and subconsciously ran over, hiding behind Li Fan. "Miss Yang, why are you so anxious?" "I came today just to listen to Miss Yang's zither." The martial emperor picked up the wine cup and poured himself a cup. "This marshal is working hard outside, it's quite tiring. Today, after listening to Miss Yang's zither song, I feel refreshed. Unfortunately, this song isn't for you." Although Yang Weining was afraid, she felt an indescribable sense of security when she was with Li Fan, so she directly refuted Lu Dashui. At this moment, Miss Yang looks like a heroine. The martial emperor's gaze descended onto Li Fan. "This is the Wang clan's second young master, right? I was the one who took a fancy to Miss Yang first. I'm afraid it's not good for you to snatch his love away, right?" The martial monarch didn't expose Li Fan's identity, just like how Li Fan didn't expose his identity. In this place, they were restricted by the rules of the game. Even if it was exposed, it would be useless. On the contrary, it would cause disgust between them, and it would produce the opposite effect. "General Liu, Miss Yang doesn't have you in her heart." Li Fan faced the muzzle of the gun without the slightest bit of fear. "You'd better give up. Even without Miss Yang, you can still achieve your goal." As long as the 4 saints were activated, the passage to sky beyond sky would open. "From the looks of it, you seem to understand this marshal's purpose." The martial monarch chuckled. "What this marshal wants is this world. You can take the world, but she's mine." Li Fan's words made Yang Weining's heart melt. "Second young master, you're trying to steal your own brother's woman. That's not good, is it?" "You're completely wrong." Li Fan retorted. "Miss Yang hasn't gotten married yet, nor has she entered my Wang clan's door. I still have the right to pursue her and defend my love." "Defend my bullshit love." The martial monarch was a little impatient. He fiercely slammed the table and shouted, "Let me tell you, if you don't hand her over to me, I'll make your Wang clan bleed like a river and die without an intact corpse." Yang Weining was scared out of her wits with just one sentence. "Ha, who are you trying to scare?" Li Fan scoffed. "If you could do it, you would have done it long ago. Marshal Liu, here, you're just a small warlord, and you only have 20,000 people under your command. So what? At least I have more people than you." The martial monarch sneered. "And there are only 4 people here, they can take your life." "Is that so?" However, Li Fan pointed out the window. "Take a good look, whose people are outside?" The martial monarch and the 4 gunmen all turned their heads and looked out the window, but there was only the rippling surface of the lake outside. The martial monarch cried out in his heart, "Not good." When he turned around, a box cannon was already staring at his head. "Come on, let your men shoot." Li Fan's finger pressed on the trigger as the martial monarch broke out in a cold sweat. Who knew, if he died in this space, would he die with him in the real world? The martial monarch didn't have the white tiger and the divine fox cheats. Because he had forcefully requisitioned the souls of the 4 saints, the souls of the azure dragon and the black tortoise were both in a deep sleep. No one could help him. Here, he only had a slightly better physique. How could he be faster than a pistol? The 4 gunmen behind him were also panicking, but their marshal was being restrained, so how could they dare to move? At this time, the martial monarch really wanted to shout, "Don't worry about me, quickly shoot." But he didn't dare. He was also afraid of death. Especially since he had already died once, he didn't want to lose his life again. "Put down your guns." The martial monarch immediately ordered the gunmen to put down their submachine guns. Just as Li Fan's eyes fell on the 4 people, the martial monarch suddenly lifted the entire table with both hands. He rolled on the ground and picked up the submachine gun on the ground and fired at the other side with all his might. Tututu. The bullets shattered the table, but there was no one on the other side. The martial monarch rushed to the window and fired at the lake outside. The bullets hit the surface of the water with a pa-pa sound. The martial monarch frowned, he had actually miscalculated again. Li Fan, this brat, was truly cunning. In this kind of situation, he actually managed to slip away. At this time, Li Fan was holding Yang Weining and diving into the ice-cold bottom of the lake. With the help of the white tiger, Li Fan was able to freely breathe oxygen from underwater. Yang Weining obviously couldn't hold on any longer. After diving for a minute, she started to struggle with all her might. Without hesitation, Li Fan kissed her on the lips, sending in a steady stream of oxygen. With a desire for oxygen, Yang Weining greedily sucked on Li Fan's tongue, and then sucked in oxygen from his mouth. "Ma Dan, this is too exciting," even Li Fan couldn't help but mutter. And because of this kiss, it seemed that he had finally opened up Yang Weining's heart. A white light appeared around him, pulling Li Fan's body into another world. The moment before he left, Li Fan seemed to see Yang Weining's panicked eyes. The plan to conquer his sister-in-law had been successfully completed. But at that moment, Li Fan felt his heart ache. Chapter 1682. That woman should have left him forever. Li Fan landed in the Vermilion Bird Pagoda. The water vapor on his body evaporated, but he felt a chill and he couldn't help but shiver. Whether it was the Azure Dragon Pagoda or the Vermilion Bird Pagoda, every time he went through them, it made Li Fan's heart ache. "How is it?" At this moment, a woman's voice sounded, echoing in the empty second floor of the Vermilion Bird Pagoda. "Do you feel the pain and bitterness in your heart?" Li Fan looked up and saw a woman sitting in front of him. She was dressed in a fiery red feather dress and sat on a carved phoenix throne. This woman was very cold. She didn't look like the passionate successor of the Vermilion Bird. Instead, she was like an ice mountain. Li Fan looked at her and was speechless for a long time. This woman. Isn't she the Yang Weining he met in the other pocket dimension? Are you surprised? It's me. Yang Weining glanced at Li Fan with a complicated look in her eyes. You and the other challenger have always been in my memory world. Why did you arrange such a game? Li Fan couldn't understand. Do you know what happened to the real Yang Weining? Yang Weining's voice became colder. She didn't meet the caring and gentle Wang Shaoqing, nor did she meet the Lu Dashui who wanted to take her back. She stayed by Wang Xiaofu's side, but less than a year after she married him, Wang Xiaofu met another woman who returned to study abroad. Thus, Yang Weining was abandoned. In the end, Wang Xiaofu gave her to a famous military officer in exchange for a position and power in the government. But that was just the beginning of a nightmare. Yang Weining was traded here and there like a commodity. In the end, she fell ill and was kicked into the sea by an officer who was retreating from China because the ship was overweight. Yang Weining's voice was emotionless as she recounted all this. It was a blessing in disguise. She accidentally entered this Vermilion Bird Pagoda and began a new cultivation path under the guidance of the previous generation's successor. I'm sorry, why are you apologizing? Yang Weining tilted her head and looked at Li Fan. It was that era that was wrong, not you. But I wasn't born in that era, and I couldn't protect you. Li Fan looked at Yang Weining. His feelings were also complicated. Although it was only a short half a month, he naturally developed feelings for Yang Weining in his heart after spending so much time with her and being intimate with her. In any case, you passed. As Yang Weining spoke, she slowly stood up from the phoenix head throne. At the same time, she grabbed a vermilion bird-shaped gun. All that's left is to fight. Come on. Can't we not fight? No. Yang Weining sneered, you can't be taking that virtual world seriously, right? I am indeed Yang Weining, but not the Yang Weining you love. Right now, I am the successor of the Vermilion Bird. Since you are the challenger, you are my enemy. With that, Yang Weining raised the Vermilion Bird fire spear and fired a shot at Li Fan. Bang! A 1-meter-long golden-red flaming vermilion bird flapped its wings and flew towards Li Fan. Li Fan had no choice. Now was not the time to dawdle. Obtaining the power of the vermilion bird and opening the passage to the heavens beyond skies was a mission that he had to complete. Sorry. Li Fan had no choice but to kick the flaming vermilion bird into pieces. But with a loud boom, the huge force sent Li Fan flying more than 10 meters away. The power of the flaming vermilion bird was not a joke. I have reminded you. Yang Weining looked at Li Fan, who was in a sorry state, and emphasized, I am not Yang Weining. I am the successor of the vermilion bird. You have the blood of the dragon race in your body. We are enemies. Let's fight. With that, Yang Weining raised the gun again and fired a shot at Li Fan. An even larger fire vermilion bird, 2 to 3 meters long, flew towards Li Fan with scorching flames around its body. Tornado scattered clouds. Li Fan swept his leg and used the dragon subduing sword technique again. A crescent moon ripple flew out and struck the flaming vermilion bird. Rumble. The flaming vermilion bird was split into 2 halves in the air and then exploded into scattered flames. Not bad. Yang Weining nodded. Holding the gun, she stood on the head of the vermilion bird statue and looked down at Li Fan. As expected of the blood of the dragon race. But it is a pity that you appeared too late. With that, the eyes of the vermilion bird statue under Yang Weining's feet suddenly lit up. Then, it flew up into the air with Yang Weining and aimed at Li Fan below. Flaming triple strike. Yang Weining fired 3 shots in a row. 3 flaming vermilion birds flew out and pounced at Li Fan from 3 different directions. But Li Fan did not retreat this time. He stood there and let the 3 flaming vermilion birds hit him. Boom boom boom. Li Fan's body slid back a meter, but this time, he was unscathed. At this moment, Li Fan's skin was glowing with a bronze light. Just before entering the vermilion bird pagoda, Li Fan had comprehended a new technique. The current Li Fan could already use his true dragon golden body in every part of his body. Although it could not compare to the defensive prowess of the invincible golden body, it was not inferior by much. The flaming vermilion bird's attack was powerful. If it was 2 days ago, it might have posed some threat to Li Fan. But now, Li Fan did not care. He also tested the defensive prowess of the true dragon golden body, and it was as good as he had imagined. You have already begun to possess the powerful body of the dragon race? Yang Weining looked at Li Fan and said. This is not the body of the dragon race. This is the martial art that I have cultivated. Li Fan emphasized. I have lived in China for over 100 years. Naturally, I know what martial art is. Yang Weining reminded Li Fan, but you have the genes of a dragon. This is because of your powerful body, which is why it can contain such majestic energy. Do you think that any martial artist can hide such a huge amount of energy in every cell of their body? Li Fan was a little depressed. Could it be that if he was not human, he could not cultivate to a higher level? Whether it is you, Martial Emperor, or Jiang Feng, the reason why you can break through the limits of humans is because you have paid a price that surpasses humans. Yang Weining reminded Li Fan, for example, you have absorbed the genes of a dragon. For example, Jiang Feng, he obtained the inheritance of the Azura Dao and paid the price of his future lifespan. And Martial Emperor, this man can be considered the most orthodox because he cultivated the true immortal art. This so-called immortal art can allow humans to change their bodies. So no matter which one it is, if humans want to cultivate to the realm of immortals, they must break through the limits of humans. You think it is unfair? But this is the truth. Chapter 1683. Hearing Vermilion Bird's words, Li Fan's emotions turned slightly complicated. Is there really a limit to humans? Li Fan suddenly thinks of a woman and his heart jolts as he immediately refutes Vermilion Bird. I know a woman whose strength has almost reached the lower immortal stage. You are talking about your fiancée Muronging, right? Although Vermilion Bird's successor is in the pagoda, she seems to know a lot about the outside world. She actually does not have that much strength. She is only so powerful because of the yin-yang dragon phoenix sword that she created with you. You really know a lot. Li Fan is also unable to defend himself. Why is this vermilion bird's successor like a Jiang who know-it-all? I am really envious of the love between the two of you. Yang Weining looks at Li Fan, but no matter what kind of love it is, in the end, the harvest is only a kind of bitterness, isn't it? With that, she sets up her gun again and aims at Li Fan. Watch me pierce through your steel body. Yang Weining's gun muzzle is filled with scarlet flames. In an instant, an almost golden vermilion bird suddenly flies out and pounces towards Li Fan. Li Fan is still standing there with his arms crossed, allowing the vermilion bird to devour his body. Boom boom boom. A powerful explosion sets off and the flames shoot up high, directly burning to the top of the pagoda. But when the flames dissipate, Li Fan is still standing there. Even his hair is not burnt. He is still crossing his arms and looking at Yang Weining. Your attack power is still not enough. Li Fan says, Weining, your hands are only suitable for playing the zither, not shooting. Less nonsense. Yang Weining suddenly reprimands, then try and take this shot of mine. As Yang Weining speaks, the red light on her body suddenly becomes even more blazing and all of it converges at one point. Very quickly, the gun lights up with a dazzling radiance. This kind of radiance even makes Li Fan feel threatened. Quickly stop. Li Fan shouts because he feels that Yang Weining is using her life to release this attack. Why did you have to do this? Can't we resolve this peacefully? How can you still be so naive? Yang Weining's eyes flashed with a red light. I told you long ago, you can't. As she spoke, a completely golden vermilion bird flew out from Yang Weining's gun. This vermilion bird was only a meter long, but the power gathered on it was not to be underestimated. Li Fan didn't dare to use his body to face it head-on because Miss White Tiger had already reminded him that this vermilion bird was the same as the White Tiger Divine Bow. It would directly harm his soul. He could only retreat, but the vermilion bird seemed to have its eyes on him and flew after him. No matter where Li Fan went, the vermilion bird followed him like a shadow. Li Fan had no choice but to stop. At the same time, he took a step forward and raised his fist. Lightning Supreme Dragon Fist. With a bang, the air seemed to be squeezed. That golden vermilion bird was directly smashed into pieces by this punch. And on Yang Weining's chest, there was also a fist print that was neither big nor small, causing her chest to cave in. Pfft! Yang Weining spat out a large mouthful of blood. Her body seemed to have lost its center of gravity as she fell from the stone vermilion bird and fell down the tower. Li Fan hurriedly jumped up and held her in his arms. Weining, why are you so silly? Li Fan looked at Yang Weining in his arms. The coldness on her face finally dissipated, leaving only endless warmth. Shaoqing, Yang Weining stretched out her hand and gently stroked Li Fan's cheek. My lifespan has long come to an end. I won't be able to linger on here for long. I'm already satisfied when I wait for you. Didn't you not remember me? Why do you still call me Shaoqing? Li Fan felt his heart skip a beat. Although it's just an illusion. You really entered my memory. Yang Weining's eyes were filled with satisfaction. You don't have to be sad. Weining should have died 100 years ago. Being able to get to know you means that Weining didn't live in vain. Don't say silly things. Let me heal you. Li Fan fed Yang Weining a few rejuvenation pills and desperately channeled vital energy into her. However, Yang Weining coughed out the pills and there was still blood. When the vital energy entered Yang Weining's body, it was like a clay ox entering the sea, disappearing completely in the blink of an eye. It's useless. My lifespan has come to an end. There's nothing I can do. Yang Weining gave Li Fan a sweet smile. Thank you. I was really happy for that half a month. As soon as she finished speaking, Li Fan felt the weight in his arms lighten. Yang Weining's body had already turned into spots of red light and disappeared from the vermilion bird tower. And a red mark was also drawn into the space between Li Fan's eyebrows. No. Li Fan's heart ached terribly. He heavily smashed his fists on the ground, causing the entire Vermilion Bird Tower to tremble. You've already obtained the power of the Vermilion Bird? The Martial Emperor had just left the small world and flew in front of Li Fan. Return the power of the Vermilion Bird to me. The Martial Emperor's body was wrapped in golden dragon armor and his body suddenly expanded to more than 4 meters. He activated his Dharma body and with the power of a heavenly immortal, he pounced towards Li Fan. I'll return your mother. Li Fan's body also suddenly grew to more than 3 meters tall, and he let out a heavy roar. The Martial Emperor used the Yellow Emperor riding dragon and his right palm ruthlessly landed on Li Fan's chest. Bam! Qi exploded behind Li Fan, but he did not move. He directly reached out with both hands and grabbed the Martial Emperor's shoulder. Die! Li Fan grabbed the Martial Emperor and locked his body in place. Then, with a flying knee, he heavily landed on the Martial Emperor's chest. The Martial Emperor immediately spat out a mouthful of golden blood. He was stunned by the attack. And Li Fan threw him up. Then, his legs continuously spun and he directly kicked the Martial Emperor until he finally smashed into the ground. His head buzzed and his vision turned pitch black. Die, die! Li Fan kicked the Martial Emperor up again and kicked him into the Vermilion Bird Pagoda's wall. Then, it struck his body, and followed with his strongest fist. Lightning Supreme Dragon Fist. Dong! A fist imprint appeared on the Martial Emperor's chest. And this sturdy Vermilion Bird Pagoda was actually pierced through. The Martial Emperor's face was bruised and swollen as he fell out and heavily smashed into the sea. He didn't even dare to go back to look for Li Fan and directly sneaked away from the water. How did Li Fan suddenly become so strong? Did he take drugs? The Martial Emperor thought differently, but Li Fan also couldn't figure it out. He howled in the Vermilion Bird Pagoda for a long time. The Vermilion Bird Pagoda trembled unceasingly. The earth shook and the mountains shook, unable to calm down for a long time. After this continued for more than 10 minutes, Li Fan finally calmed down a little. However, he sat on the ground in a daze. It was unknown when Dragon Girl had entered the pagoda and was standing beside him, but she didn't dare to come forward to persuade him. After knowing Li Fan for so long, this was the first time she saw Li Fan having such a huge emotional fluctuation. What exactly happened? Chapter 1684. The Vermilion Bird was about 4 meters long. She landed beside Li Fan and gently rubbed Li Fan's cheek with her beak. Whinnying. Li Fan was a little shocked. He reached out and touched the feathers on the Vermilion Bird's head. It was a very warm and familiar feeling. Not only was it familiar, but it was also a kind of intimacy. It looks like the original Vermilion Bird's soul has long dissipated. Missy White Tiger flew out and stood beside Li Fan. She reached out and gently stroked the Vermilion Bird's feathers as she sighed. Therefore, Yang Weining replaced the original soul and became the sacred Vermilion Bird soul. Her companion from long ago was no longer around. This made White Tiger sigh. For Yang Weining to be able to stay by your side, it can be considered fate. However, her dermic powers are still too weak and she can't transform into human form. I can enlighten her a little and teach her the ability to simplify her form. Thank you, Sister White Tiger. Li Fan hurriedly thanked her. There's no need to thank me. Just treat it as fate. As Missy White Tiger spoke, she extended her finger and tapped the Vermilion Bird's forehead. The Vermilion Bird let out a melodious cry that sounded like Yang Weining's zither. Her body gradually shrank and soon turned into the size of a parrot. She landed on Li Fan's shoulder and combed her beautiful feathers. The 4 sages have been activated, right? Dragon Lady heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Li Fan's relieved expression. She took the initiative to raise a topic to distract Li Fan. Are you heading to heavens beyond? Yes. Li Fan nodded. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. The moment Li Fan said that, the Vermilion Bird on his shoulder suddenly flapped its wings and flew up. Soon, it flew to a stone door in front of them and landed on it. It chirped at Li Fan. For sacred gates. Missy White Tiger's gaze landed on the 3-meter-tall stone door and she could not help but sigh. Every pagoda has such a door. Look, there are our carvings on it. Sure enough, there were carvings of 4 sacred beasts on the stone door, and each one was vivid and lifelike. What exactly is the sky beyond heaven like? None of us have seen it before. Ms. White Tiger reminded Li Fan, be careful. The 3 of us will do our best to protect you. Yes, it's either success or death for this mission. Li Fan had already made up his mind. After experiencing 2 heart-wrenching sanctum cultivation, he was mentally and physically exhausted. All he wanted was to end this endless battle as soon as possible. Alright, I wish you success. As Miss White Tiger spoke, she glanced at Vermilion Bird. The vermilion bird returned to its original form and landed on the southern side of the stone gate. As for Miss White Tiger, she transformed into a big white tiger and landed on the west side. Only one holy beast could open the stone door, but it would take a bit more time. With 2 holy beasts around, the time it took to open the door was much faster. The 2 holy beasts injected their energy into the stone door, and the 9-tailed divine fox also appeared. It spat out its pass and imprinted it on the top of the stone door. After more than 10 minutes, the stone door finally trembled and slowly opened. An unknown space was behind the stone door. Dragon Lady, when I'm not around, look after the 7 Knights Villa for me. Li Fan said to Dragon Lady. Following that, the 2 holy beasts flew back. One returned to Li Fan's body, and the other landed on his shoulder and followed him through the door. The sky beyond heaven, I'm here. Li Fan felt his body being pulled up, and there was a feeling of ascension. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived at another plane. In front of him was a vast space, and Li Fan just happened to land on a cliff. Below the cliff was a row of towns. The town's architectural style was ancient, and it had a very ancient aura. According to the information that Li Fan obtained from Hua, the sky beyond heaven was not only filled with warlike experts. Many of the remaining million or so people were just ordinary celestial citizens. Although these celestial citizens did not know any immortal techniques, their bodies were much stronger than ordinary humans on Earth. Because they did not cultivate immortal techniques, these celestial citizens needed to work if they wanted to live longer. In the sky beyond heaven, there was only one set of currency, and that was the immortal crystal. This immortal crystal had no other use, and its only effect was to be absorbed and increase one's lifespan. One immortal crystal could increase one's lifespan by 1 year, and immortal crystals were produced by the strongest celestial master in the past. After the celestial master exhausted his power and brought everyone to the sky beyond heaven, he fell into a deep sleep. The place where he was turned into a giant tree, and immortal crystals would be produced every day. The 8 heaven immortals were responsible for collecting immortal crystals and distributing them. They were distributed to the exalted immortals, who each had their own territory in the sky beyond heaven. They appointed many lower immortal officials, and then let the officials distribute the immortal crystals according to the workload of the townspeople. For thousands of years, the sky beyond heaven had relied on this method to survive. It looks like a very peaceful place. Li Fan observed the small town below and couldn't help but laugh. The people of the sky beyond heaven are quite good, bringing disaster to Earth, but they are living a carefree life. Li Fan secretly snuck into the town, stole clothes from a family's drying window, and changed into them. In the sky beyond heaven, the style of clothes was a bit similar to that of the Han Dynasty. After Li Fan put it on, he felt that it was very loose, the material was also quite unique, and it was quite comfortable to wear. He walked on the streets, and sure enough, no one recognized him as an earthling. Although Li Fan was a little unfamiliar, there were a few towns in the sky beyond heaven, and they all treated Li Fan as someone from the other towns. The main thing was that no one from the sky beyond heaven would believe that an earthling had successfully sneaked in. Li Fan's goal was to destroy them from within the sky beyond heaven, so he had to think of a way to enter the upper echelons of the sky beyond heaven. Conscription. Li Fan saw some conscription notices pasted on the walls and couldn't help but be stunned. Coincidentally, there was a merchant selling immortal pets, so Li Fan asked him about it. "Little brother, you're from the other towns, right?" Hearing Li Fan's question, the merchant chuckled. He stroked his beard and said, "Recently, our king of Yu and King Ku have been fighting. Because of a lack of manpower, the king of Yu has decided to recruit soldiers and train guards to determine the victor. The population of our sky beyond heaven is already small, why are we still fighting? Hee, looks like the town you live in should be a place that stands aloof from worldly affairs." The merchant looked at Li Fan enviously, and then explained, "The civil war in the sky beyond heaven relies on Dharmakaya. If the Dharmakaya is destroyed, it will take 10 days to half a month to recover. So as long as the opponent's Dharmakaya is destroyed, it will be considered a complete victory." "Oh, I understand." Li Fan thought to himself that this was a good idea. He reached out, removed a list from the wall, and stuffed it into his sleeve. "Good lad, do you want to join the army too?" Chapter 1685. After chatting with the merchant for a while, Li Fan got to know more information. It turns out that sky beyond sky often has this kind of civil war. It is said that it is a war started by the high immortals who have been conferred the title of Marquis in order to fight for resources and population. And the 8 sky immortals of sky beyond sky have tacitly agreed to this kind of war. Only war can nurture the soldiers of sky beyond sky and make them stronger. "Since you are going to recruit soldiers, why don't you buy an immortal pet from me?" The merchant points to the table tennis ball-sized amber in front of him. "These are all low-grade immortal pets that can help you in battle. Immortal pets are a unique type of spiritual beast in sky beyond sky. They are captured by hunters and then sealed in special amber. Every sky beyond sky warrior can have one immortal pet as their combat power. These immortal pets are divided into 3 grades, low, mid and high." Li Fan shakes his head. The merchant hurriedly says, "Are you not satisfied?" "It's alright, I still have a mid-grade immortal pet here." Li Fan shakes his head again. "Could it be? Young master, you want a high-grade immortal pet?" "No, I don't have money." Li Fan's words make the merchant speechless. Li Fan has just arrived at sky beyond sky, how could he have any immortal crystals? "It's alright. Take this." The merchant waves his hand, then he picks up a red amber and passes it to Li Fan. "Take this." "I don't have money." "I'll let you use it first." The merchant pats his chest. "You are fighting for our King Yu, you cannot go into battle empty-handed. This is a low-grade immortal pet. Although it is not very good, it is at least a form of combat power for you. In the future, when you receive your salary, you can just give me the money." "Thank you." Li Fan was a little surprised. The people here were honest, and they were all quite loyal. Could it be that this King Yu has some unique charm? There are 49 high immortals in sky beyond sky, and similarly, there are 49 fiefdoms. The population and resources of each fiefdom are different. In order to strengthen their fiefs, the 49 feudal vassals would naturally often wage war against each other. Li Fan asked the merchants again and heard that this King of Yu was a good person. He treated the people of his fief very well and had low taxes, so he was very loved by the people. "I used to be from the Green Mountains, and the King of the Green Mountains is really. Let's not talk about it. Later, I moved my family to Yu City and lived a prosperous life. Thanks to King Yu's blessings, I should return the favor." The merchant chatted with Li Fan for a while longer. "Go, little brother. I wish you luck in martial arts." The merchant gave Li Fan an encouraging look. Li Fan was slightly moved. If everyone in the realm beyond Avalon was like this, then it would be a very difficult opponent to deal with. No matter what, let's go in and take a look first. Li Fan took the low-grade immortal pet the merchant gave him and headed towards the town's recruitment office. On the way, Li Fan did not forget to look around. Memorize every piece of information here. The realm beyond Avalon was indeed a very special place. Along the way, Li Fan felt that most of the people here were very simple, unlike the invaders who went on expeditions to Earth like Hua and Yu. Here to recruit soldiers. At the recruitment office was a centurion wearing black armor. He glanced at Li Fan and frowned. I haven't seen you before, where are you from? Replying to Lord, this lowly one came from the Green Mountains. Li Fan immediately replied, our Green Mountains king is tyrannical, so I traveled all the way to Yu City. Because I just arrived here, I don't have much of a livelihood. I heard that the king of Yu is recruiting soldiers, so this lowly one came. Oh, a person from the Green Mountains, no wonder. The centurion suddenly realized. Li Fan muttered in his heart, what kind of ruler of the Green Mountains is, it seems like everyone doesn't like him. As long as you are willing to fight for my lord, you are a citizen of my Yu state. The centurion continued, he picked up a booklet, what's your name? Li Dazhuang. Li Fan casually made up a name. The people of the Green Mountains are really uncultured, Dazhuang. The centurion curled his lips, then with a big wave of his pen, he registered Li Fan's name on it. All right, take this wooden sign and report back tomorrow. Yes. Li Fan held the wooden sign with his name written on it, but in his heart, where should he stay tonight? He really didn't have a dime when he came to this place. He also had to hurry up and finish the recruitment, don't let Martial Emperor see him. Martial Emperor knew him too well, no matter how he changed his bones, he would be instantly recognized by Martial Emperor. Wait, you don't seem to have a place to stay. The centurion suddenly stopped Li Fan, forget it, anyway, there are not many people signing up this time, let's call it a day. Can I? Li Fan was a little surprised, can I call it a day early? To be honest, I've been waiting here for 10 days, you're the third to come to the recruitment. The centurion shrugged his shoulders, after all, no one likes to be a soldier, this job is too hard. The ordinary people of the sky beyond were not belligerent, their personalities were very gentle. This, Li Fan had already seen on the way here. Our king of Yu used to have 100-man team under him, because of the war, he wanted to recruit one more. But in the past 4 months, I've only recruited about 30 people. That's already pretty good. Li Fan was a little speechless, recruited about 30 people in 4 months, and the Duke only had a 100-man team under him. The combat power of the sky beyond was indeed a little lacking. However, the quality of the soldiers is not the quantity. The centurion didn't know who he was comforting, just like your Green Mountains, although you have a huge army of 10,000 people. But what's the use, most of them are forcibly recruited from the people, their combat power is low. And this kind of behavior, Lord Heaven Immortal will definitely punish them. No wonder so many people escaped from the Green Mountains, it turned out that the dukes like to force the big guys into servitude. The most capable of fighting is still White City. The centurion didn't know that in the process of chatting, he had unwittingly leaked information to Li Fan, the people of that place are swift and fierce. Almost all of them are soldiers, their army is really elite. I'm afraid that in the future expeditionary army, they will probably be the main force. Expeditionary army? Li Fan listened blankly, to where expeditionary army? Naturally to the lower realm. The centurion was a soldier after all, when he said this, his eyes became somewhat fanatical. Isn't it said that if we go to the lower realm, we will develop feelings with humans? Li Fan couldn't help but ask, once we have children with humans, it will be our doomsday. So we have to choose an expeditionary army. The centurion said, this expeditionary army only has men, and all of them will be castrated. Huh? Li Fan's jaw almost dropped, so it was an army of eunuchs? As far as he knew, although the people of the sky beyond were unable to give birth, it didn't stop them from having sex. Many people chose to dual cultivate, the effect was even stronger. Chapter 1686. Li Fan did not know which immoral person came up with this idea. An army of eunuchs. Even if the true immortal mantra could strengthen the body, it did not seem to be able to replenish the life below. This. Lord Centurion, do you want to join the expeditionary army? What a joke. Who wants to join the expeditionary army? The centurion shook his head like a rattle drum. I want to find a suitable woman for dual cultivation. Li Fan was slightly comforted. It seemed that this method was indeed immoral. Not many people in the realm beyond Avalon would be willing to do this. Come to think of it, we will not force them. But some feudal vassals may not necessarily do so. For example, it is possible for Qingqiu to create a group of eunuchs. The centurion's words made Li Fan fall into deep thought again. Indeed, in order to please the higher-ups, these feudal vassals could forcibly create an army of eunuchs. The number did not need to be large. Just 10,000 people would be enough to make Earth suffer. There were a total of 1 million people in the realm beyond Avalon. To make 1% of them into eunuchs was indeed immoral. Even Jiang Feng would not be able to think of such a method. Alright, this is not something we should be thinking about. The centurion waved his hand. No matter what, we will have to go to the lower realms sooner or later. This piece of land will probably not last much longer. It should not be too long before the collapse of the realm beyond Avalon. Otherwise, those people in the realm beyond Avalon would not be so anxious. Lord, have we not thought of coexisting peacefully with humans? I also want to. The centurion curled his lips. But humans are only lowly peasants. How can we live with these pests? After thousands of years of brainwashing, these people's thoughts were already deeply ingrained. Li Fan let out a long sigh. They were kind to their own people, but they did not have the slightest mercy to humans. To them, humans were no different from ants. Especially when these ants could cause the extinction of their entire race. How could they try to coexist peacefully? Alright, we are almost at the main camp. The centurion pointed forward. Follow me. From today onwards, you are my soldier. In front of them was an army camp. Although it was called a camp, it was actually not that big. After all, there weren't many soldiers, so the camp didn't need to take up so much space. The centurion led Li Fan into the camp, and they just so happened to see another centurion leading a few decurions out of the camp. Sun Quan, where are you going? The centurion frowned and looked at him. How can you leave the camp without orders? There's nothing going on in the camp. I'll take a few brothers out for a drink. The centurion called Sun Quan yawned. What's wrong? Are the conscription back? It's a big crime to leave your post without permission. How dare you take them out for a drink? Li Fan's centurion was furious. Sun Quan, do you still have the bearing of a centurion? Qian Ping, you can't even recruit soldiers. How can you say that about me? Sun Quan sneered, and a few people beside him laughed at Centurion Qian Ping. Qian Ping's face turned red. We're talking about military rules. You're not the one who set the military rules. If you're unhappy, let the general deal with me. Sun Quan was disdainful. He did not even put his comrade of the same rank in his heart. Brothers, ignore him. He's just a clown. Sun Quan pushed Qian Ping's shoulder away and walked out with a few decurions. Sigh. Qian Ping sighed. Don't learn from that person. He's just a scum. Li Fan felt a little relieved. Seems like the army of heavens beyond Avalon was not as united as a piece of iron. In the future, you'll be a soldier of U City. Your monthly salary is 10 immortal crystals. It's not a lot. That's why no one is willing to be a soldier. However, only we, the soldiers, can protect the peace of the entire U City. Qian Ping still had the faith of a soldier. When you become a decurion, you'll be able to get 20 immortal crystals a month. Qian Ping did not mention anything about becoming a centurion. It was probably true. 2 centurions were already enough, not to mention one more. Tomorrow, the general will come and take a look at you new soldiers. At that time, perform well. In front is your camp. You'll be staying there. In a while, take your token and go to the military officer to get a set of military uniform. Also, before afternoon, you must report to the military officer. He will impart the true immortal arts to you. Understood. Li Fan was still muttering in his heart. Can I learn the complete true immortal arts just like that? However, he did not dare to learn it. If the people of heavens beyond Avalon learned the true immortal arts, they would lose the fertility of their own race. They even changed it a little and let the people of Earth learn it. It would directly cut off their descendants. This was practically a set of Bixia sword technique. Li Fan said that he did not want to learn this thing. Qian Ping clearly had his own matters to attend to. After sending Li Fan to the camp, he shouted towards the inside before turning around and leaving. Respectfully sending off, my lord. A 2-meter-tall burly man stood at the entrance of the camp and saluted Qian Ping. This man was also wearing a black armor. However, it looked a little cruder than Qian Ping's. He was a decurion and should be Li Fan's superior. Newbie, report your name. Li Dazhuang. What Li Dazhuang? From now on, you will be called Weak Chicken. The decurion shouted at Li Fan, trying to intimidate him. Yes, sir. Li Fan knew this very well. He immediately agreed respectfully. This caused the decurion to be stunned. He had wanted to take the opportunity to teach this troublemaker a lesson. He did not expect this kid in front of him to have no temper at all. Could this kind of guy with no temper be a soldier? Weak chicken. Hurry up and get in here. Are you standing guard outside? Yes. Li Fan immediately walked into the camp. There were 2 rows of bunks. Some soldiers were sitting on the bunks, playing Pai Gao. Li Fan was a little speechless. How did this look like a camp? They were either out drinking or playing Pai Gao. It seemed like the fighting atmosphere here was really bad. Qian Ping's subordinates were probably also newbies. They probably did not have any military discipline. Head, hurry up and play. Seeing the decurion enter, these people shouted impolitely as usual. What? All of you, stand up. In order to establish his authority, the decurion could only bite the bullet and shout. Head, stop joking. My Pai Gao is just right. That's right. Hurry up and play with us. Stand up. The decurion's face turned green as he shouted again. Everyone turned around and saw that the decurion was really angry. They immediately threw down the Pai Gao and jumped off the bunks, forming a row. So there's a newbie, Sai, head is going to start again, these people whispered among themselves. The decurion glared at them. Did I allow you to speak? All of you, shut up. Chapter 1687. The decurion's reprimand made the new soldiers behave themselves. Don't think that I'm doing this on a whim. Let me tell you, the general will be here for an inspection tomorrow. Look at all of you, you're still playing cards. Do you all want to go to the small black room tomorrow? Don't, sir. We won't dare to do this again. Yes, we will listen to you, sir. We will maintain strict military discipline. When these people heard that they were going to be locked up in the small black room, they all begged for mercy. These celestial people's physique far surpassed that of ordinary people. Even if they were beaten or punished, they would recover very quickly. It wouldn't hurt their muscles or bones, so it wouldn't be a punishment. Therefore, the punishment method of Beyond Avalon was to lock people up, commonly known as the small black room. No matter how long you could live, you would all be thrown into the black room. Once you were inside, there would be no daylight, and time would feel like years. The longer you lived, the more pain you would feel. This is the new soldier, Li Dazhuang. From today onwards, he will be our comrade in arms, a brother. The decurion pointed to the bed. You will sleep there. That blanket is your only lover. Hug it tightly at night. Of course, if you have any special preferences, the men here can also satisfy you. The new soldiers all laughed loudly, but Li Fan didn't mind. It was the same as the military anyway. Since you're here, I'll give you a killing blow to sharpen your temper first. There are a total of 38 people in our 100-man team. You're the 38th. From today onwards, don't call yourself Li Sanba, remember. Remember, Li Fan was finally speechless. Damn it, he was still playing this game with him. However, the Decurion probably didn't know the meaning of Sanba. It was a modern term, so it was impossible for Beyond Avalon to know. Number 38, because you're the last to arrive, all the clothes here will be washed by you. The Decurion continued to assign tasks to Li Fan. If you mess up the clothes, you'll be locked up in the small black room. Yes. What else could Li Fan say? He could only endure it for now. He came to the military to hide, not to act like a tyrant. Moreover, Li Fan also wanted to know what level the so-called strength of the army was. What was the combat power of the ordinary soldiers here? Immortal slave, lower immortal. Also, you don't have to look for a military official today. I'll personally teach you the military's cultivation method. The Decurion said. But the Centurion asked me to report to the military officer. Who told you to talk back? The Decurion glared at Li Fan and said awkwardly, that bastard went out for a drink. Anyway, it's the same if I teach you. You're so lucky, brat. That's right. The Decurion is the strongest among us. It is said that his strength is close to that of a lower immortal. Listening to the words of these soldiers, Li Fan had some idea. So that's how it is. Seems like the strength of an ordinary soldier is above that of an immortal slave. Hua had said before that almost all the grandmasters were dead or injured, and he was not lying when he said it. Even exalted immortals could be conferred the title of Marquis here. One could imagine their combat power. Wang Er, come out and demonstrate the military's kung fu to him. The Decurion pointed at a fat man, and the fat man immediately ran out. All right. Sir, I promise to do my best. 38. Watch carefully. The fat man was very respectful to the Decurion, but he glared at Li Fan. It was obvious how deep-rooted the hierarchy was in the Outland. Avatar Battle Spirit. The fat man half-squatted and shouted. Following that, his body surged with golden light. Countless golden lights flew out of his body and gathered in front of him. Soon, a 2-meter-tall battle spirit stood there. The black armor on the fat man's body lit up, and in an instant, the battle spirit was also covered in black armor. Take your weapon. The Decurion took out a 3-meter-long spear from the shelf beside him and threw it to the fat man. The battle spirit controlled by the fat man immediately reached out and caught the spear. Then, it swung it in a circle and finally swept it at Li Fan. Li Fan seemed to be very afraid. He quickly took 2 steps back and then staggered and fell to the ground. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. The Decurion had also received the effect he wanted. He nodded in satisfaction and crossed his arms as he said to Li Fan, 38, do you see that? 38, did you see that? This is the power of our army. Battle spirit. Wang Er, demonstrate again. Yes. Wang Er had wanted to control the battle spirit to give Li Fan another show of strength. Who knew that his battle spirit's legs would suddenly go soft? Then, it fell to the ground and shattered. With a clang, the spear fell and smashed into the fat man's foot, causing him to howl in pain. Ha 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 ha. Everyone laughed even more happily, but the Decurion felt a little embarrassed. Sure enough, a recruit was a recruit. His control over his battle spirit was too poor. Next time, come back after your battle spirit's leg is healed. The Decurion kicked the fat man away angrily and released his battle spirit. The golden light on his body and the black light flashed together. Soon, a 2-meter-tall, 3-meter-wide black-armored battle spirit slowly walked out of the void and stood in front of Li Fan. It was different from the fat man's battle spirit. The Decurion's battle spirit was filled with deterrence and a faint sense of oppression. Do you see it? This is a battle spirit. The Decurion said loudly, learn it and you will have the qualifications to become a true soldier. Yes. Li Fan roughly understood that this battle spirit was a simplified method of operating an avatar. This way, even a contestant with the strength of an immortal slave could smoothly release their avatar. They could control their avatar to fight from a certain distance. This way, they wouldn't hurt their main body. Your avatar is very important. Don't think that everything will be fine even if it's destroyed. The Decurion seemed to see through Li Fan's thoughts. Once your avatar is destroyed, you might be bedridden for half a month. At that time, you will have lost the battle and lost the honor of the king of you. I will work hard in my cultivation. As Li Fan said this, he muttered in his heart. What should he do to fool these people and make them think that his energy body was a battle spirit? Alright, this is the cultivation technique. Take a look. The Decurion threw a silk handkerchief filled with words to Li Fan. Practice it today and report to me tomorrow. Alright, go to the martial arts field to practice. You will stay in the martial arts field today. Yes. Li Fan didn't object. When it came to cultivation, the quieter the better. This place was filled with all kinds of people. How could he cultivate in peace? Li Fan left the barracks and went to the logistics department to get a simple black military armor and a gray military uniform. He put them on and went to the empty martial arts field alone. Chapter 1688. Li Fan would definitely not learn a perfected immortal art that could make a person impotent. Moreover, after practicing it, his energy could only be released externally. This was absolutely not possible. Li Fan's inner strength was trained to the bone, so it could not be used externally. If that was the case, it would greatly weaken his strength. Li Fan was a pure martial artist. He was different from the martial emperor, who could change his banner halfway through the battle. If it's just the release of energy, Li Fan stood on the martial arts field. Since there was no one around, he might as well let go of this matter. He stretched out his hand and released his inner strength above his palm, forming a milky white energy ball. If it was just the release of energy, he could still do it. However, it was still very difficult to condense the energy into the form of the Dharma body battle spirit. The Dharma body battle spirit that the fatty released was almost equivalent to an avatar of the fatty. His avatar was still left in the Li Clan island in the mortal realm, overseeing the island for him. Then he would try to create another avatar. If it was Murong, she would definitely be very relaxed. Turning the void into reality was indeed enviable. Fuck, I don't believe that I can't release a second avatar. Li Fan vaguely remembered that someone in the pugilistic world had vaguely said that there was once someone who could release 2 avatars at once. It had already surpassed the avatar body and should be called the 3 pure ones. Since someone had done it before, why couldn't he? Li Fan thought to himself. The reason why he could cultivate an avatar was completely because he had unintentionally cultivated a second dantian. Could it be that he had to open up a third dantian? That was impossible. His dantian was already gone, and now only a taiji diagram was left. It was impossible to open up a third dantian with a taiji diagram. It's not like there's no way. Miss White Tiger's voice sounded in Li Fan's ear. You can use the power of the vermilion bird. Vermilion bird? Li Fan was puzzled. He did not know much about the vermilion bird's abilities. At this time, the little vermilion bird suddenly flew out of the forest and landed lightly on Li Fan's shoulder. Then, it began to comb its feathers. One of the vermilion bird's abilities is to transform. As long as you pour your strength into her body, she will be able to condense a so-called Dharmakaya battle spirit for you. Let Weining fight for me. How can this be? Li Fan shook his head. I can't bear to let her go to the battlefield. However, the vermilion bird grew anxious. It flew down and circled around Li Fan, constantly flapping its wings as if protesting something. She said she could. She was happy to fight for you. Where's my gentle Weining? How come she's become a militant now? Li Fan was speechless. He was a little unwilling to let young Weining fight for him. Don't worry, the vermilion bird is also known as the immortal bird. Ms. White Tiger reminded Li Fan. As long as you, the host, are still alive, she can rely on the fire of life in your body to be reborn. It's more or less a comfort. Only then did Li Fan agree. He followed Ms. White Tiger's instructions and slowly poured his energy into the vermilion bird's tiny body. Li Fan felt as if he was charging a battery. Soon, the energy in the vermilion bird's body was filled by Li Fan. According to this amount, the vermilion bird should leave his body and exist alone for about an hour. If it exceeded an hour, it would have to return to his side to replenish its energy. Come, take a look at the Dharmakaya battle spirit that I, Wei have transformed. As Li Fan spoke, he released his energy once again. The vermilion bird immediately transformed into a nearly 3-meter-tall battle spirit that stood in front of Li Fan. Not bad. Li Fan was a little excited. With this disguised battle spirit, he did not have to worry about being exposed. Armor. Li Fan added the power of the black armor. This simple black armor was the equipment of ordinary soldiers, but it could also be worn by the battle spirit. As expected, Li Fan's vermilion bird battle spirit was instantly covered in black armor. The armor had the insignia of King Yu and a silver spear. It was said that King Yu was brave and skilled in battle. This could be seen from the insignia. In heavens beyond, there was a strict class system. Ordinary immortals were the lowest class. They had no rights and were the property of the feudal lords. Above them were the retainers of the feudal lords. They were all inferior immortals and were owned by the feudal lords. As for the superior immortals, they were the absolute nobles of heavens beyond. However, the nobles were only the rulers in name, the royal family. However, the royal family did not have any military power. It was only a spiritual symbol. The military power was in the hands of the feudal lords. Furthermore, there were 8 real bosses above them. The 8 great heaven immortals controlled the Elders' Council. The insignia was a symbol bestowed by the royal family. Every feudal lord had a different one. Usually, if they used a sword or spear, it meant that the feudal lord could fight. Li Fan closed his eyes and began to communicate with the battle spirit's soul. Just like operating the honored immortal, when Li Fan opened his eyes, he was already in the view of the battle spirit. At the same time, he could feel young Wei-Ning's attachment to him. This was the feeling of their souls being in harmony. Spear, come. Li Fan controlled the battle spirit and waved at the shelf beside him. A 3-meter-long spear immediately flew over and landed in the hands of the battle spirit. Li Fan had never practiced spear techniques before, but he had seen the martial emperor use spear techniques that were combined with the Xianyuan sword technique. He controlled the battle spirit and displayed a set of clean and beautiful spear techniques. Not bad. Just as Li Fan was displaying his spear techniques, a woman's voice sounded from the side. Li Fan turned his head and saw a woman wearing a red silk dress. She had a neat braid and looked very young. She was beautiful and had a heroic aura. She was standing beside him and looking at him. Who are you? Li Fan immediately held his spear and looked at the woman coldly. This is an important place in the barracks. Unauthorized people are not allowed to enter. I am not an unauthorized person. The woman in red placed her hands behind her back and said very freely, I am also a person of King Yu. King Yu's woman? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. Bah! The woman in red glared at Li Fan, then sorted out her emotions and said, I am a soldier. I only fight, not marry. There are actually women in the barracks? Li Fan felt that it was a bit inconceivable. What, do you look down on women? The woman in red immediately raised her head and looked at Li Fan. That's not it, I am just a bit surprised. Men can fight, why can't women? The woman in red said, maybe, women are better at fighting. Damn, is she an Amazon female warrior? Chapter 1689. Li Fan felt that he was not a male chauvinist, but this woman in front of him was a little female chauvinist. Your spear technique is not bad. How about I test you? The red-clothed woman suddenly provoked Li Fan, I want to see if your spear technique can match up to mine. Li Fan said. Since this woman dared to issue such a challenge, it meant that her spear technique should be very outstanding. What, you don't dare? The red-clothed woman's provocation became even more obvious. It's not that I don't dare, I'm just curious. Li Fan muttered. Curious about what? A curious woman shouldn't like to fight. No, no. I'm curious about why there are so many lazy fellows in this King Chu's barracks. How can there be someone like you? The woman's expression became a little strange. Don't talk about such useless things. Let's fight. The red-clothed woman continued to request. Li Fan could only agree. Fine. Although I'm just a new recruit, if you want to fight, I will accompany you to the end. Who was Little Overlord afraid of? Come on then. Not bad, you have courage. Come on. As she spoke, the red-clothed woman suddenly released her own battle spirit. A 4-meter-tall battle goddess walked out with large strides, holding 2 great spears in her hands. Perhaps she was intentionally going easy on Li Fan, but this battle spirit did not wear any armor. Was it an old hag with 2 spears? Li Fan did not understand. How could 2 spears fight a battle? You first. The red-clothed woman waved at Li Fan. Li Fan did not hesitate and immediately controlled his battle spirit to charge forward. With 1 spear setting the 9 prefectures, he directly pierced towards the red-clothed woman's battle spirit. Good. The red-clothed woman seemed to be praising Li Fan. Her battle spirit moved as well. The battle spirit blocked Li Fan's attack with 1 spear, while the other spear pierced towards Li Fan's neck. In her hands, this pair of spears could be used both offensively and defensively. However, Li Fan was not someone to be trifled with. With a shake of the spear in his hand, he pushed aside the red-clothed woman's defense. Ignoring his own safety, he thrust the spear towards the red-clothed woman's chest. If this continued, the 2 of them would probably end up in a tie. The red-clothed woman decisively retreated and sheathed her spear. However, Li Fan was relentless. He once again stepped forward and continuously attacked. Each time, he attacked the red-clothed woman as if he didn't care about his life. Although the red-clothed woman's battle spirit seemed superior, it was still forced back by Li Fan again and again. After a few rounds, she finally couldn't take it anymore. She put away her spears and took a step back. She looked at Li Fan and scolded, "Your self-destructive spear technique is really annoying. Although it's annoying, it's useful." Li Fan laughed, "No matter who the other party is, at worst we'll all die together." Although his fighting style was a bit shameless, the red-clothed woman really couldn't do anything to Li Fan. Your fighting style is at most a life for a life. What use is that on the battlefield? If I trade for one, then I'll make a profit. Li Fan said with a serious expression. It's not worth it to trade for a small soldier, but a 10-man commander should be fine. There are also centurions, commanders, and even the feudal lords themselves. You're dreaming. The red-clothed woman fiercely glared at Li Fan. That's fine. Your shameless fighting style is actually useful to me. Since you're quite diligent, I'll forgive you. The red-clothed woman waved her hand. It's getting late. Go back and rest. As for seeing me, you don't need to mention it to anyone. No, I have to report this to the 10-man commander. Li Fan felt that this woman was far too arrogant. He wouldn't fall for her tricks. No. The red-clothed woman wasn't happy. She glared at him, "You're not allowed to go. Come on, why should I listen to you?" Li Fan laughed. I don't even know who you are. Maybe you're a spy from the enemy country. Nonsense. I'm a citizen of Yu City. How could I be a spy from the enemy country? The red-clothed woman immediately said. You think you're right? Where's the proof? Proof? What else do I need? Before the red-clothed woman finished her words, she suddenly frowned. Li Fan also felt something was amiss. He subconsciously looked towards the east. A guest has arrived. The red-clothed woman looked to her left and right before pointing at Li Fan. You, follow me. Me? Yes. The red-clothed woman took out a jade pendant from her bosom. On it, there was a silver spear insignia. This was a very high-status symbol in Yu City. I'm ordering you to follow me. All right. Li Fan could only nod. What exactly is this woman's identity? But his current goal was to conceal himself. Thus, he could only follow beside this woman. The two of them passed through the barracks and arrived at a forest outside. A man wearing black robes was standing in the forest. Behind him were two tall and fierce men. Each of them emitted a unique aura. Oh. As the man saw the red-clothed woman walk over, he didn't seem surprised. He only gave a soft, oh, sound. Coming uninvited means you're a thief. The red-clothed woman glared at him. I didn't think that among your many hobbies, you would actually be a thief. That's not true. The man chuckled. I'm just here to take a look at my territory in advance. What an arrogant fellow. The red-clothed woman seemed a bit angry. Her battle spirit stood up from behind her and let out a long roar. The war is imminent. There's no need for you and me to fight. The man crossed his arms, a bit disdainful. Moreover, you only brought a single, recruit? Don't tell me you want to rely on him to defeat my two capable generals. The two men behind him were both wearing white armor. On the armor, there was a scimitar insignia. It was unknown which vassal state they were from. Li Fan pondered for a bit. To appear at this time and say such words, he felt that the other party should be King Ku's people. It was very likely that this man in front of him was King Ku. The two generals behind him were currently emitting the aura of an inferior immortal. Who was that red-clothed woman? Her position on King Ku's side was probably not low. Li Fan made a bold guess. Perhaps, she was King Ku himself. I alone am enough. The red-clothed woman's battle spirit held her spear and didn't retreat. Lord. Li Fan suddenly stepped forward and called out a title that caused the red-clothed woman to be slightly surprised. There's no need to use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. I'll help you deal with King Ku's two lackeys. Ha ha ha. You King Ku people really like to talk nonsense. King Ku couldn't help but laugh. A mere recruit actually dares to provoke me. That's fine too. Go and take him down. Let King Yu take a look at what a true elite troop is. Yes. The two generals released their battle spirits at the same time. The two 3-meter-tall battle spirits were wearing white armor. Each of them held two large sabers. Without any politeness, they charged towards Li Fan from the left and right.